Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tarda Zone. This is the Tarda Zone Talks, and we're here to talk about the season finale. But just bear with me for a second because just trying to get Melon Rattlers coming on tonight. We're just having an issue with his email there. So I'm going to send it again. My computer has been playing up, as you know. So let me just, because there's just one more. Just want to make sure that it goes through. As you can tell, I'm quite chill. There's no point in having a meltdown about what happened in the series finale. Obviously, there's been loads of rumors and speculation being flying out since the reveal of Miss Piper. Something that shouldn't have happened. Let's be honest. It shows that creatively RTD is bankrupt. But there's another way of looking at this, and Jack was the one that actually texted me after the season finale, after the rumor or the leak, not the leak, but after it was revealed, Billie Piper, and he said something very interesting to me in relation to this, and it made a bit of sense. You know, there mightn't be anything with this Billie Piper thing at all. It could be just one last FU from RTD to the fans. Could be the simple fact as well that he started off with Billie Piper as his first companion, and he ended with Billie Piper. Whether we're going to see anything come of this is what everybody now is speculating on. For me personally, I don't even know. I don't even know how you even try and explain this, to be quite honest with you. We seem to be having an issue with emails. How are we going to get them on? Because I can't pour through my old Twitter account either, because that me computer, Twitter doesn't work on my computer anymore. We're going to have to figure this out. I'll tell you what. Hold on. Is anybody's devices acting up as well? Right, Right, I don't know if anybody's been getting me emails. The only one that seemed to has received me email is Robert. Robert is the only one in the studio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for Melon Rattler to come into the live chat. I've told him to go into the live chat. When he goes in, I'll drop the link, and then it's whoever gets on first. I'm sorry, but there does seem to be a problem with the emails. So get your fingers on the buttons. So once Melon Rattler makes himself known in the live chat, I will put the link in. Now remember, there's only limited spaces because it's not paid StreamYard. So whoever gets on, gets on. There's nothing I can do about it. But don't worry, as I said, we will be having another stream where I'll be bringing it. People don't obviously turn up tonight if people can't get on. We'll be having another panel where we'll be doing a whole season review. Obviously, we're just reviewing the season finale here tonight. But my thoughts on the season finale are it didn't feel like a season finale. Nothing really happened of consequence. Then you give this build up, to Omega, and then Omega is literally destroyed within, I wouldn't even say a minute and a half. The Rani is eaten as well. Mrs. Flood's version of it runs away. It was just a complete mess. And then the ending, look, the bottom line is this, right? The ending doesn't really mean anything, to be quite honest with you, because people have to face the facts that this isn't Doctor Who. We've been trying to tell you this for a long time now, right? Even if you've got little member berries and you've got little things that make it feel like Doctor Who, it's not Doctor Who. It hasn't been Doctor Who since RTD came back, right? It's as simple as that. This show, and I've been saying this for a while now on this channel, and I'm blue in the face, and now I'm seeing other people saying it, and because they're saying it now, it's getting highlighted, but I've said it a long time before all of these people. It pisses me off that nobody acknowledges some of the shit that I say in this fandom. But I said this show needs to go back to its roots. I said it needs to go back to basics, and it needs to get an outsider in, and now people are talking about that now. That's what this show needs to do. You need to get rid of RTD and anybody that's worked on this show during the RTD eras, the Stephen Moffat eras, and the Chris Chibnall era, right? The bottom line is none of these people that have been involved in those eras should ever work on Doctor Who ever again. And I'm talking about writers and stuff like that. I'm talking about directors. I'm talking about all of these other people. I'm not talking about the little person that works on the show, right? Not talking about those people, grip hands and all of that other. I'm talking about the main players, right? They all need to fuck off. Anyway, here we go. As I said, Robert is the only one that's in the studio. I managed to get an email. So I'm about to put this link in. So you have to be quick because there's only limited amount of spaces, right? So whoever gets on, gets on. And as I said, we will have a season review panel next week. So if someone can't get on tonight, then they're guaranteed shoe in for the next panel. Anybody that shows up for this panel, obviously, depending on spaces or not, can join that other panel. It'll depend anyway. What I'm trying to do is bring different people on to different panels and stuff like that, like we used to do in the old days. So that's the way I'm going to do it. Again, just to caution everybody that comes on as well, just be careful not to cut across anybody that's talking on the stream tonight. Give them a chance to get their point of view across, okay? I know emotions are going to be running high as well, because I say there is a lot of anger at what happened at the end of the season finale. I know my emotions have been all over the place. I'm not going to lie. But I'm past being angry. That's the thing. I'm past being upset. That's the thing as well. So it's been a weird week, you might as well say, for me so far, because I'm still trying to process everything that's gone on with this season, not just the season finale, but like why it was that bad. I just, you pump. Look, I'm not saying you pump money into something that should be better, but you'd expect it to be better. And the fact that, Chibs had less budget and there's some episodes that I can actually bring myself to watch. There's none of these stories now that I'll ever bring myself to watch again now. That's it. I've watched them once and I'll never go back to them. Sure, I didn't even watch Joy to the World, and there was a little scene in the season finale and I kind of clocked it. I said, oh, this must have been got to do with the Hotel de Moffat episode. But I hadn't got a fucking clue what was going on, like, because I didn't watch Joy to the World. But that's it. If Doctor Who remains under the same regime, Bad Wolf Studios, RTD, and whoever else is involved, then as far as I'm concerned, you're never ever getting Doctor Who again. So you have to stop thinking that you are ever getting Doctor Who again if those people are still in place. You'll never get the show back, okay? It's as simple as that. Hasn't Doctor Who since Classic Who, really? Yeah, you probably have a point, mate. It's just, look, it's just a shame, really. There was a lot of potential here. I'm not talking about the stories because all the stories were shy. But I mean, when you get Disney involved, there is potential. Not everything on Disney Plus is crap, right? Most of their shit is crap. But some good shows do go between the cracks. The same with Netflix and all these other streaming services. Like, they do pander to certain demographics, but through the cracks, you get some good shows that'll come out. And I just thought, with Disney being involved, them wanting this brand to work, they would want to do things right by it. And they let a madman basically do whatever he wanted. It's just absolutely disgraceful. Hold on, I've been told I haven't put the link in yet, guys, so just hang on. Today I went to CEX to give my new Who DVDs, he said, and I quote, "We can't sell them. No one wants them. We've been inundated with them. We are only looking for classic Doctor Who." I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't shop in CEX anyway after what they did to that girl. I used to get all my stuff in CEX. I used to even sell all, like, they rip you off anyway. You sell your DVDs and all, and then you go back a week later and like they're about £3 fucking quid or something. So they rip you off. But look, I'm not surprised. These last two eras have damaged Doctor Who beyond belief, and it's baffling that there's still people out there that are supporting this. And I just want to say to you people directly, I know that you are desperate for Doctor Who to stay on TV, but you're really willing to sacrifice its reputation, its long, I can't even say the word, longevity. Are you really willing to risk all of that at the altar of wokeness and the altar of absolute nothingness? Like, none of his stories made, and I mean, the writing is just so fucking dire. Anyway, look, I've rabbled on for 15 minutes. I kind of did that on purpose as well, because Melon Rattler, I did give him short notice, so I wanted to give him a bit of time, because he said he'd be about 15 minutes late. And that was my fault because I gave him short notice, you know. Its integrity, yeah, I don't think it's had much integrity since the Chris Chibnall era, though it was starting to slide even during the Moffat era. I think a bit of that was eroded, but yeah. But look, as I said, nothing changes under these people. Nothing changes under these people. And this is why it's important now that us fans don't stay silent now. Now more than ever is when we need to speak up. Oh, and to Ian Levine. I've got something to say. So I want to read something that Ian Levine put up. And I want to give another response. I gave a response on X, but I want to give a response on this channel, and then I'll bring people on. Where is this fucking post? Here it is. So he wrote this up on his Doctor Who group, which I'm assuming is on Facebook. He says, the entirety of the fandom now needs to come together, put aside our differences, and join together united as one to push the BBC to continue Doctor Who without any more gap years. We need to be strong, and we need to be militant like we did in 1989. We don't want the wilderness years all over again. And my response to that is simply no. No, we won't band together to try and stop another wilderness years. If there's another wilderness years, it's because of people like yourself who have flip-flopped these past few years. 1 week you'll hate an episode because of its wokeness, but then the next week an episode will drop and there'll still be wokeness in it, but you'll praise it because there were some elements in it that felt like Doctor Who. It is fans like you and fans that think like you that are the issue in this fandom, and the reason why this fucking absolute abomination was able to continue. You are one of the big voices in the Doctor Who community. You're known throughout the whole Doctor Who community because of your work of the past and the work that you continue today. Yeah, you could have spoke up a long time ago and continued relentlessly along with Philip Morris and others, and you turned on people that were fighting the same fight. So you can get fucked, right? And by the way, someone made the point as well, and it was an actual very good point. During the wilderness years was a godsend to Doctor Who, because the Doctor Who fandom became creative, and there was a creative period during that time, and that's what kept Doctor Who alive and kept Doctor Who in the mainstream, because of fans. So no, Ian, you can get fucked with your play, right? We're not banding together, because when I asked you all to band together during the Chris Chibnall era, right, because they were going in the wrong direction, yous all fucking turned on me the first chance that yous all got, right? So no, okay, I am not going to band together with people that bullied my wife, bullied me, right? Sent me abusive messages, sent me wife abusive messages. You can get fucked if you think that I'm siding with people like that, right? Okay? And they reap what they sow, and you reap what you sow, right? The bottom line is we try to warn you and warn everybody else in this fandom during the Chris Chibnall era, at the very start of it, when all the bullshit politics were coming out, even before an episode had even aired, and we were ignored. Oh, give it a chance. Give it a chance. You know, you can't judge because of this, that, and the other. But we were right. Just like we were right about the RTD2 era. Right? I always said that this could go two ways with RTD. Right? It was either going to be brilliant or it was going to be a clusterfuck. Right? And we got a clusterfuck. So no, I'm sorry. I'm not siding with people that I fucking detest and that I don't even want in this fandom. And as for you, you turned on people that I know, right? Turned your back on them when you got a little bit of heat because you supported them at one stage. Now, I don't tolerate weak men like that. So you can get fucked with your plea or your campaign, right? I hope there is another Wilderness Years, and there should be another Wilderness Years, because then fans will show the BBC exactly what they're missing, right? Fans will show the BBC exactly what they're missing, right? The creativity in this fandom now in 2025 and going forward is going to be off the fucking charts. Off the charts. You won't be able to stop fans from creating their own. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So you can forget about your plea. I'm sorry, right? I want another Wilderness Years now. After that, this show doesn't deserve to come back on TV. So fuck you. Anyway, here's the link. He's all ready. I'll get you our fingers ready. It's first. Yeah, as I said, whoever gets in first. Right, here we go. Link is dropping now. And while we're waiting on the rest in the studio, let's bring on Robert, who has been waiting patiently on the sidelines there for the past 22 minutes. I do appreciate it. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
Oh, I'm all right. I don't know what I say about Doctor Who other than it's a red comedy of errors, isn't it? Red mess. Biggest cluster of strange knotted wool and string and bits of belly fluff that they ever made into a script, you know. I've seen nets with less holes in it. It's just ridiculous. It's from the do you want a quick rundown of what I thought?
Just waiting until we get the rest of the panel on. I'm just waiting for the rest of the people to come into the studio. We've got two other people. We've got two other people. Two other people have entered the studio. Who else have we got there? Hold on. Brilliant. Now we're just waiting on Melon Rattler, I think, as well. So we'll just wait for Melon Rattler to come on, and we have a surprise guest that we haven't had on in a while. Actually, he's there smiling away. Nice to see you. It's nice to see you. Right, let's bring everybody on. Anyway, this is our season finale rundown. I've kind of told you what I think. Nothing really went on in this episode. I'm pretty sure what's going to happen is we're going to gravitate to what happens right at the end, and I'll have no choice but to just let everybody just go with the flow, to be quite honest with you, because I think that's where it's going to end up going. Because let's be honest, I mean, you know, even I was surprised, and you know, the leaks. See, this is the thing. This is the one leak that came out after the fact, and came out, I say, 3 days before this episode aired. So whoever had this rumor kept it until the very last stages, and then put it out. But I will say this, right? For anybody out there thinking that she is the Doctor, because there's some morons out there thinking she is the Doctor. She's not the Doctor. She wasn't introduced as the Doctor. I said introducing Billie Piper. Didn't say introducing Billie Piper as the Doctor. She's not the Doctor. It's clear she's not the Doctor. So for people that are claiming that she's the 16th Doctor, she's definitely not the Doctor. And this is why I hate this even more, because this feels like a stunt to me by RTD. And it just shows that creatively, I think he's bankrupt. And I said this, you know, we said this during the 3 specials. It was very clear to us there and then that there was no new ideas during the Star Beast, Wild Blue Yonder, and wherever the fucking other one was that I can't remember, right? But those 3 episodes proved that he was creatively bankrupt. There was nothing new there, to be quite honest with you. The only thing that was strong in it was the messaging. Anyway, let's bring on. He's here. Looking forward to having him on. So one and only Melon Rattler.
How you guys doing?
Evening.
And if you haven't checked out Melon Rattler's latest videos, go and fucking check them out, because he's bleeding hilarious, man. I love your work, man, I have to say.
Thank you very much, mate.
No problem. We got PD Rich.
What on earth was that?
I don't know, but whatever it was an abomination. Of course, we got Cinnamon Toast Crunch, who we're gonna have to try and control a lot tonight because I think he's gonna be very, very emotional. And of course,
bring Cutie back.
and of course, we've got Josh.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Josh.
Hello.
It's been a while since Josh has been on, but it's nice to see him. As I said, whoever came in, that's all the spots filled up, unfortunately, folks. So what we'll do is, as I said, the next panel I do, I will prioritise those people that didn't get a chance to come on because there is a few. So we will talk more on this series anyway. Don't you worry, guys. Super John says she's not the doctor. The show looks like it is on hiatus. Shooty was fired. Here's the thing about Shooty, though. I don't want people to jump to conclusions that he was actually fired. I think, and I said this on the channel, and he's come back and watched the streams, and I think Charlotte was on with me when we brought this up. We spoke about the possibility of him being disgruntled for the fact that he was missing out on roles. And we suggested at the time, and if Charlotte does pop in, she'd probably be able to back me. Well, she will be able to back me up on this. We talked about the fact that there was a chance that he could buy out his contract, right? Because obviously he was under a 3-year contract, and no matter what the spin is out there, he wasn't always going to do 2 seasons. He was here for 3 seasons. Sure, he even spoke about recently how he wanted to face the Daleks. Right, and of course that's never going to happen now. But I don't know. I think it's a stretch. Look, his behaviour on set, I was told, was inappropriate at times. He was reprimanded for smoking. You have seen his posts on social media. He doesn't give a shit. Sure, I used one of them as the thumbnail of this stream tonight. You know, he's talking about doctrine and hitting the G spot, and all of this. Other rubbish that he comes out with. So for me, I reckon he bought out his contract, to be quite honest, rather than being fired. Because if you look at the season, and the only reason why I say that is because if you look at the season finale, it looked very rushed to me, and that end scene with just Billy Piper turning up just didn't. There's something more to this. I think he left it by his own accord. I think he was sick of missing out on roles because he had to turn down a couple of roles since he played the Doctor. And this is the thing about playing the Doctor, though, is that, you know, they made allowances for Jodie Whittaker to do something, and I think they did the same with Peter Capaldi. I don't know why Shooty wasn't given the same freedom, but I think he did get a. That's why didn't he get to do?
He did, wasn't he? I mean, I think, you know.
Oh, he did. He got to do
4 or 5 episodes, including the 60th.
Sex Education. That's right.
Including the 60th, he didn't get any. Well, he appeared right at the end of the 60th, and then.
But I still do believe. Now, look. All that said, right? I still do believe he left of his own accord. I don't think this was part of the plan, and it shows. Now, very quite interestingly as well, I will say at the end titles, I didn't say that Doctor Who would return like it normally does, right, as well. So we're left with the Billy Piper cliffhanger, and we're left with the fact that we don't know if Doctor Who's coming back. Because very interestingly as well, folks, is BBC press office haven't released that. And so, again, another thing that I spoke about when Charlotte was on here, I said if they don't make the announcement that the show was put on hiatus and Disney Plus are gone, if they don't do it after the season ends, then they'll probably do it when the spin-off ends. Either spin-off starts or spin-off ends. They will make the announcement then. Because remember, Disney Plus are still part of this spin-off. So that was part of the original deal. So I did see comments from fans out there getting confused. Oh, Doctor Who and Disney Plus is safe because they're still doing the spin-off. No, that was already part of the 100 million package deal. So this is still part of the same deal. So after the episode obviously ends, or the series ends, then that's it. Then Disney then are actually done. But let's get into this, folks. Let's talk about. I don't even know where to start. Actually, to be quite honest with you. I don't even know what question to ask is this week to start off because it
Did
was
you like
just.
it?
Well,
Were you
There was
entertained
no-
thoroughly?
Again, another thing, Cinnamon. It was boring.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was boring. I mean, for a season finale two-parter, both parts were boring. There was nothing that got me to the edge of my seat. There wasn't a moment. There was one moment actually, and I didn't mention this. It was the Susan cameo, but I know why that cameo was put in there, and the only reason why that cameo was put in there. But was it nice to see her? I have to say, personally, for me, it was. I just wish it wasn't this fucking abomination.
Yeah.
What, this
exactly.
episode? It didn't appear on this episode.
But I didn't mind seeing her face again.
That's
I
gonna
just
cut the
wish-
scene. There you
Yeah,
go.
she wasn't in this one.
I just wish it was under better circumstances. Listen, I can tell you now by looking at that season finale that there's a lot of scenes that were on the cutting room floor and there was reshoots done. It's clear that there was reshoots done for
City
that
now. Reshoot City.
season
mate.
finale. What I think I will ask is first, obviously they made a big deal of Omega, right?
Yeah.
So we'll start off.
Well,
I think
the
we'll
skeleton.
start off with the Omega redesign. Okay, so
Redesign.
The Skeletor.
obviously,
No, the other one.
right, it came out of the whatever it came out off the portal thing, right? And then
Okay.
it's there. It's a big. It looks like a big fucking. It looked like the. I even said it. It looked like the alien out of Alien Resurrection, the hybrid that they created, right?
Because it is. It's
Looking
probably a
at
rip
this-
off of it.
Abomination. I mean, right, Mel and Rattler, what did you actually think of the redesign?
The redesign of Omega. Well, considering I'm not a person who watched a lot of Classic Who growing up, but I recognise how awesome. Am I coming through all right? By the way.
Fine.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Right. Okay. Yeah. I recognise how awesome the design is of Omega, even though I'm not a huge fan of Classic Who. And I remember watching Wish World, and even when they teased Omega at the end with Shuta Gatwa, I even knew then, well, they're not going to use the same costume. They're not going to have anything real or authentic. I knew exactly what it was going to be, and it was just a big CGI mess, just a big CGI mush on screen. And for anybody who loves Classic Who, I can imagine it was really unbelievably triggering for them.
Which is rubbish.
Do you know what? I wasn't even angry, Mel and Rattler. I mean, I love Omega. I love Classic Who. I'm a huge Classic Who fan, as you know. But I mean, I just couldn't even get angry. Look at RTD's redesigns on a whole. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Have always been shit. Even in his first era, the Silurians, like the redesign there, never went down well with fans. Not the first time that he's done a redesign. That's absolutely ridiculous. But it just, for me, it just looked like there was zero effort made
It's almost
at
like
all.
yeah, it's almost like the entire £100 million budget went to just going into these two big CGI mushes. That was Sutek and Omega. Like the budget went absolutely nowhere else, and if anything, the show took a step backwards when it comes to the effects and CGI. And how to even talk about Omega. I think it's just insulting, isn't it? If we're just, that's the only word I can think of about it. It was a predictable mess and it perfectly stamps Russell's legacy that he's left on the way out. In my opinion, it's just been an absolute middle finger to every single real Whovian.
Do you know what baffles me though? Is that he had a good reputation with the fans because of what he did in 2005, right? So this is what I'm finding hard to get me head around. Is he that bitter? Has his life changed that much that he's willing to absolutely destroy any shred of legacy that he had or any shred of respect that he had from fans because of what he did in 2000? I don't get why you'd self-sabotage like he did.
Well, I think you have to look at the fact that when he did come back, there was like a overwhelming sense of excitement. I fell for it. I'm going to be talking about it in my video.
We all fell for it.
I'm going to be talking about it completely. And is he bitter? Probably. I think there's an overwhelming sense of. I think he came back to protect Chris Chibnall as well. Because another consistent thing he's done since coming back is he's been stamping down the Timeless Child and every horrible idea that Chibnall came up with. So I think it's a mix of bitterness greed. Like, we still don't know how much he was paid, but I imagine it's a lot. And I think it's a lack of effort, because everything he's done since coming back is just, a regurgitation of what he did before, but less good. But yes, to answer your question about him being bitter, yeah, I think he's a very bitter, fickle old man.
But see, that's the thing. It's the fact that, okay, we criticised Chibbs, but we knew Chibbs was making an effort. He just wasn't good enough. But RTD's done it before and been successful, so obviously all of us would automatically assume that, you know, get a little bit giddy. Oh, he's coming back. This could be good for Doctor Who. But it's just the lack of effort. Even if you analyze, you know, the 3 specials, as I said, it's just the same shit that we got before.
I think it's worse.
But the messaging is more. But he's just inserted. It's like as if he's come back, right, and he's remembered when he did Doctor Who in 2005, and the BBC shutting down all these mad ideas, and he wanted them to just be sane and to just write something decent, and he did, right? Probably kicking and fucking screaming. It's like he's come back now, and he's like, well, you stopped me from doing what I wanted to do all those years ago. So I'm going to come back now and I'm going to do it, but I'm going to forget about character development and plot lines and stories. I'm just going to, you know, go heavy on the messaging, because that's what he did.
Well, it's kind of ironic, because now this era is so bad, it makes me revisit the first era he had and makes me think, well, who the hell was in charge really? Because it can't be the same man. Like, it's just like black and white of how inequality with how bad it is. Like, was Russell T Davies the genius that we thought he was all along, or was there someone else really pulling the strings? Was it more Stephen Moffat than we actually thought? I don't know.
See, that's a valid fucking point, to be quite honest with you, because if you do look at the 2 eras, I mean, even some of his stories in the first era, they weren't great. The guest writers were the better writers for that season, and Stephen Moffat in particular has to be given a lot of praise, because his episodes in the RTD era were absolutely phenomenal. Like,
yeah.
So I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe it was Moffat. Maybe Moffat was the fucking genius behind the scenes. Someone had to be. Someone was pulling the strings, because you're right. It can't be the same man.
I know it's been, what, has it been 20 years? Is it 20 years this Saturday since the anniversary of New Who? Is it something ridiculous like that?
Yeah, it's the anniversary's coming up. They're having a special, by the way, for the anniversary. About 500 people will tune in for that.
Yeah, that's right.
If 500 people can bother their arses.
I mean, it'll be the anniversary of the finale of season 1, probably soon, because we've already had the actual anniversary when it was the 26th of March.
Yeah.
So I think the Empty Child 2-part of that, I think, has just gone 20 years. So we'll be about Boomtown now? Boomtown, or
20 years ago we got those 2, The Empty Child and fucking The Doctor Dances, man. Think about
that's an episode I watched last night, by the way.
Right. That's how good Doctor Who could be. Right. And that wasn't even RTD, that was Stephen Moffat.
Yeah.
Right. I wouldn't even take Stephen Moffat back now, because he's proven that.
No.
Yeah, he's proven that he can't do it anymore.
I don't think Stephen Moffat's going back. Sorry to interrupt. I think he's walked away. He's had enough too.
I think he's interested.
Yeah. Sorry, no. Carry on.
No, it's grand. I'm going to let Cinnamon get in there now, right? Because I know he's bitten at the teeth, because he's been... because I have a private chat. I'm not going to tell you what happens in the private chat, but it's a private Doctor Who chat. No, we chat Doctor Who stuff, but we chat other personal stuff as well. But after this episode dropped, Cinnamon has been... He's been gutted, is the word to use. This one really stabbed at his heart, man. I think he's gotten I might be putting words in his mouth, but I think he's gotten to the point of where we were with the Timeless Child nonsense. I was absolutely devastated and gutted after that, and it seemed like Cinnamon was also devastated and gutted after what he saw. So I'm going to let you get it all off your chest here on the Tarda Zone. But, you know, there's not much really to talk about anyway, except, you know what. So go on, I'll let you start where you want to start, but try keep it as brief as you can. But I know that's going to be impossible, but just try.
Because this is a tale of two halves this season. You know, I think season 2 with Tennant was a bit the same. It started out really good, and then, you know, we got a little bit iffy towards the end. You know, the Satan Pit and Impossible Planet and all that was a good 2-part, but you know, then you had episodes like Fear and whatever, that's the past. But this season, God, I mean, I think, well, it was weird with the Robot Evolution, because I think on initial watch, I thought it was okay, and then we did the panel and listened to you and Lee, and then I thought, oh, was it as good as I thought it was? And then it went down a bit, and then I thought, oh, I listened to Dan, and I thought, oh, actually, it went back up again a little bit, and yeah, so it's probably still average. Then you had Lux and The Well, which I really enjoyed. I practically came on The Well, didn't I? And was like defending pretty much for the most part, I defended.
You like what you like, buddy.
I did like that one. That Boom, episode Boom, and The Well for me. Those two felt like classic, well, not classic Who, yeah, New Who. They felt like the Tennant era. It felt like I was back there again. Those 2 episodes did that for me. The rest, Lucky Day was just boring shite. Pete McTeague should have been left in the Chibnall era. I don't see all the hype around him. People kind of blowing smoke up his ass, saying, you know, oh, but he does good 10-minute shorts on, you know, 10-minute mini movies, as he was calling them, on the Blu-ray. Okay, yeah, he's good for 10 minutes, you know, for promotional material for a box set, but you can't write an episode to save his life. The story and the engine, I did like that one a bit more. It went back up again. I thought, okay, at least, you know, it was exposition dump, but, you know, I was able to watch it. And then, of course, song contest. Oh boy, you know, Pete O'Files episode. But yeah, oh Jimmy D. And then, of course, we get to the finale, which is funny because episode 7 felt more like the finale than episode 8 did. I mean, it all starts off very weirdly. I mean, you've got kind of a weird. I mean, I like kind of dark too. I mean, my favorite stories are dark episodes, but you've kind of got a very unnecessarily just kind of cruel opening where you've just got the Rani, who was very good, actually. I have to say, I do like the new Rani, even though they kill her off like within 5 minutes of the second episode when it's convenient. But you know, she comes in and kind of like wipes out some mother in front of her own children, and like, it was a bit unnecessary. I kind of felt, I don't know, I walked up, was like, ooh, that's a bit like picky. And then you've just got, I mean, it's the most incomprehensible story that I can think of in recent times. Every beat of these 2 episodes made no sense whatsoever, contradicted itself multiple times. You had, what was it? Bonnie Langford was in the first episode was banging on about, well, I've got no husband, I've got no kids, and I'll be celebrating May the 24th on my own, and that's fine. And then in the second episode, when she comes through when you know, they try and do member berries and say, oh look, she's dyed her hair a little bit extra more orange, and you know, they're all curly. It's like she's got her hair back from, you know, the 80s. Ooh, member berries. She comes in on a little scooter and was like, oh, so I was a housewife. And I'm like, well, what's wrong with that? Firstly, and secondly, no, you weren't. That's a lie. Either you're a housewife or you weren't, because in the last episode you weren't, and now you are. So okay, what the hell is the deal with Poppy? Is she real? Is she not real? Is she the Time Lord? Is she not Time Lord? Again, make your mind up.
Do you give a shit?
I kind of feel that there was some hasty rewrites done for that, because I'm not being funny. Why is Belinda so arsed about this child she doesn't know? Okay, she's just come from the Wish world. and obviously from her mental subconscious or whatever, she believes that she was the mother. And then of course she's like, well, how long was you in labour for? And she sort of like kind of realizes and like, oh, actually I wasn't. This isn't real. And yet she comes, in this second episode, she's so bothered. I mean, yeah, it's a little girl, I'm not saying she's not going to care whatsoever, and everyone's just going to disregard her. But why is she just like acting like she's been a mother for like 5 years? Like you've literally just been in this wish world reality for a small period of time. You've now come to the realization, now that the Doctor's got his memory back and now that she's got her memory back, now she knows what's happened. Now she knows that it isn't her daughter, but yet she's still so bothered and still asked about her anyway. And then, it's just, again, the whole mess of it, a whole complete mess. It's like Robert said, there's less holes in a fishing net. It's just, you had the whole ending scene where they basically gaslight us and like they start showing us clips, and then even the Doctor's kind of confused, and they've just got it like, oh, well, yeah, I told you I was always supposed to get back for May the 24th. And they start putting in extra clips in there. And I watched Noel's reaction, and even you were confused. Like, have I missed something? We never told that.
What's going on here? I don't remember.
Because it wasn't. They basically retcon it in a sense through some means or somehow. I'm trying to keep this relatively brief as I actually can, but I really can't. There's thousands of things I could talk about. Honestly, I could. You just got them throwing clips in randomly throughout the episodes, like the Miami one, the well, the first one, of them saying, "Oh no, I've got to get back to Poppy." We never got those clips. Yeah. Why is she now saying? And why is she in a different house? I thought she was house sharing in a flat with her mates in London. So why has she got to get? Okay, so was the daughter staying with her parents, and why are her parents in Manchester and she's down in London? Or what the hell's going on? Why is she house sharing with some people in one place and now she's living somewhere else? The Doctor's her father. The Doctor's not Poppy's father. She's timed on 1 minute and then she's not. And then you've got the whole thing about the Doctor now sterile, which again, that would have been, I'm guessing, the whole bi-generation thing. I didn't even clock it. I thought, oh, hang on, did he explain that? Because Russell said he would. And I'm like, no, he didn't. And then someone did have to point it out to me, like, oh, no, it's very subtle. It is, not done very well, but it is in there. I thought, okay, fair enough. But again, it's still crap. You're saying now that
doesn't make any sense.
The Doctors or Time Lord's biology Time Lord's biology overall has now altered and evolved in such a small space of time. So now the biogeneration is sort of like the body's way of reproducing and continuing on. I mean, okay. So, yeah. Again, you've got the Rani, which I thought that I did like the new one. Thought she seemed like the Rani to me. Again, killed off within 5 minutes. I mean, that was her plan, wasn't it? Did she not?
Well, even the way she was killed off was an insult. The Omega abomination picks her up and then just tosses her into his mouth
Why even call it Omega? It's just like he was literally beaten within 2 minutes. If that, it was like, what was the point in having him in the entire episode whatsoever? And it's largely wrapped up within 20
minutes. 39 minutes, the whole thing was done, and then the rest was filler.
When everything kind of starts to calm down a little bit, you realise, and I paused it because I thought, actually, how long of the episode actually is left? And it's like well over 20-something minutes. And it's just, as you know, I've enjoyed this Doctor, to some degree. I've enjoyed it, so I'm a little bit disappointed that he's gone because I wanted to see more of it and I wanted to see an improvement, but there was no emotional weight. It was just so tacked on. Oh, he's going to change now, and it felt like for the majority of the story he wasn't. There was no. Well, I mean, hell, even with Jodie, and I couldn't wait for her Doctor to go. And I think all of us were the same. We were all excited. We were counting down the days. It was like Christmas. Oh, one more day until she finally F's off. It was like that kind of feeling. And then, at least with her episode, at least there was still, even though I didn't like her Doctor, it was still there, built up like, yeah, there's going to be a regeneration. And it was a little bit kind of, oh, it feels nice. Oh, the sunlight, and oh, she's on a cliff mountaintop, and it was kind of, you could still feel the emotional weight that the episode was trying to intend. And then
But
But in this one, we didn't get any of that. He's just, I mean, how does he die? I mean, again, it's all very contrived. It's all, oh, well, this happens because it needs to. The Doctor can now shift reality one iota, give it a little jig, give it a kick, because again, he can do that now. So he does that. So he pours, what is it, soul? Because it looks a bit, it doesn't look like normal regeneration. And he sort of grabs his chest, shoots some light into the TARDIS, everything shatters, the glass shatters, wakes up, okay, now he's in this intended reality. So have we not been in the same reality all along? So it's the entire season been in a different reality? Because
well, that's where I think they were going with it.
The entire season,
True.
Again, we didn't see any clips of her talking about Poppy. How Poppy's even connected to her. Again, if it was like Ruby, I'd at least make a little bit more sense, because Ruby and the Doctor encountered Captain Poppy and Space Babies.
Cringe.
How Belinda's only connected to it because, well, she's the current companion, so she kind of has to be in the episode because she's contractually the companion. It's like that. It makes no sense. You've just got, again, characters that are turning up for 5 minutes and then going. Nothing makes sense. Everything's an absolute clusterfuck. Again, how is Poppy so important, and why does everyone care so deeply about it? Why is Belinda so arsed when she's barely known her for 5 seconds? I suppose it's realistic that she's not going to leave her in the Zero Room, which somehow, again, gets built within 10 minutes. I suppose that's, understandable. But it's just... Again, and then you've just got the regeneration itself. I'm missing loads of things, by the way. I'm going to move on soon, but we've got numerous issues, and I've only scratched the surface. Then you've got the regeneration itself, and then again, when they've sort of like made them up, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? It's so tacked on at the end. I'm like, oh, so I'm supposed to be sad now, am I? It's like I didn't get that emotional weight to it, and I like this Doctor, and yet I felt nothing. And yet when I saw her face, I never felt so annoyed in my Doctor Who life. It was just, are we really sacrificing the character of the Doctor on the altar of progressiveness, wokeness, and attention and stunt casting, because this is a new level of quite patheticness and desperation? Is this supposed to be some sort of last-ditch attempt to go to Disney and say, oh, look, we can do something here. Give us a chance. Russell begging on his knees. Why are we sacrificing the integrity of the character of the Doctor by just living in the past? I thought Doctor Who was all about change, and yet we're stuck in 20 years ago. Go on, Matt.
You said something there about sacrificing the integrity of the Doctor's character. The Doctor hasn't been around since Peter Capaldi, and ever since Jodie Whittaker, they've done nothing but sacrifice the integrity of the character.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, more about the regeneration and the rules of show like that. We have the Doctor regeneration into a new one.
I had that initial feeling seeing.
She's not the Doctor. She probably isn't so much. She's something else. She'd be something else entirely.
But the interesting thing is Shooty's Doctor didn't regenerate into Rose. If you look at the regeneration again, she just appears.
Yeah, she fades in. He sort of
fades in. Yeah.
This is the problem. She's disappeared. He disappears for like a small frame, and you can clearly see it where he's gone and she isn't there yet. And then she sort of fades in. But my problem is, I don't think she is the Doctor. No. But it's irrelevant whether she is or she isn't. They shouldn't be pissing about with the regeneration like that. It does my head in. I can't stand it when they do that. They did it once. They did it with Tennant. If I can just say this though, they did it with Tennant, and they did it with her now. And I thought the show was all about change, and yet they're still living in the past somehow.
But you're assuming that the show is going to continue, right? Because here's the thing: this could be just. RTD just sticking 2 fingers up to the fans one last time by pulling this stunt. I don't know if Anton is actually going to come off this. Now, there is a rumour, and I'm just going to say it is a rumour of a special written by Stephen Moffat that's apparently going to explain all of this. Now, whether that happens or not, I don't know, but I'll just put it out there anyway. The universe.
Another thing.
This whole thing with Billy Piper, right, is just a stunt, right, in my opinion. That's all. He wanted a reaction. Listen, he knows he's gone, right? I don't think RTD is. I think RTD is gone as well. To be quite honest.
Well, is he not? Is
That's
he not
what I
signed?
think.
Is he not signed on for a few more seasons? I know Bad Wolf Studios have production rights, but another thing that we're not considering as well. A friend of mine that I know personally, because I was a bit like you guys. After the first 5 minutes, I went, "Oh, right." I even mentioned this in my video how it didn't say introducing Billy Piper as the Doctor. Yeah. It could also be a fact. If this is a late decision, it could be the fact that they've not even got it contractually written down yet. Like she's not put her name to paper.
What I've heard is that while the Robot Revolution was airing, so like around that sort of time is when they've made that. Again, I don't know where I've heard this, but that was what I heard. That this is a very, very, very last minute decision to bring her in.
Yeah, like that's my worry. I think I'm a bit back and forth with the idea of her being the Doctor. Like if she is, like I think both options are very much possible to be happening. But I don't know where to go from where Cinnamon was saying, because he was a bit like, I think it sounds like you're in a bit of like a big realization of just how shite this era has been. I know you said you liked Ncuti Gatwa, and you talked about how his regeneration felt like there was no emotional depth or anything like that. But that's because there was nothing emotional to like get yourself invested into. Like even with Jodie Whittaker, they had that last ditch effort of with Yaz and that relationship. Like this Doctor has nothing, because he spent his entire time as the Doctor just reminding him how gay he is.
True.
I'm
still struggling to understand what actually even killed him off. Again, he just starts generating. Is it like did he really? I know he said the line about ripping his soul in half, but I don't know if that was actually real or that was just a sort of turn of phrase or something. But it just like happened.
I think you could like maybe again. There's a lot of headcanon that has to go into this bloody era, because a lot of things don't make any sense. So I think you could maybe compare it to what Christopher Eccleston did, like absorbing the time vortex and using it to, and maybe the Time Lord's body cannot handle it or something like that.
But that's half the issue, isn't it? It's too much headcanon that we have to do.
Well, yeah, that's why I hear every bloody episode. This means that if you headcanon this, I'm like, it's not our job as fans to headcanon anything. It's supposed to be explained.
Exactly, the showrunner, whoever's involved in it, it's their job to do that, and they've been failing to do that since the Chris Chibnall era. Let's be honest, this has been going on a while now, and they think it's acceptable. We want those storylines. We want, if you want fans to figure stuff out, well, then you have to be clever in your writing, like previous writers have. You can have your little bad wolves going through the thread, not people not really taking any notice unless they go back and watch again. Yana, the last of the time, or all of that shite with the Master. You can have clever writing and clever plots. Moffat obviously took that to the extreme and unfortunately couldn't explain half of the shit. But there's nothing here. That's the thing. There's no effort. This is what's annoying me about this whole era, is that it's clear that RTD doesn't give two shits. There is no effort. He said it when he came back that he was trying to engage with younger fans. He wanted Doctor Who to trend, all of that. That's who he chased. He chased trends, and he chased those invisible fans, because they are invisible, because they don't give a shit about Doctor Who and never will unless it bends to their will. And that's what he has been willing to do.
It's a bit backwards that he's chasing this young audience, but all he does is all he's been doing has been relying on classic Who villains and characters. One of the biggest disappointments of the season was bringing Susan back. Like, this is a massive character that hasn't been touched longer than I've been alive. Like, that's a big story to tell with the Doctor's family, and it was just kind of pissed away in a bloody in an episode, if that, like in a flashback. And
that's just it. I forgot even to mention the whole thing about Jory. It completely slipped my mind. Why on earth she's even in there is beyond me. There's no story reason that requires her to be there.
But Jodie
but as Melon Rattler said, which I think is a good point, I just want to bring it back up before he jumps in there, is that there seems to be a bit of RTD defending Chris Chibnall here, and I think bringing Jodie
Like,
Whittaker.
that could have been
back for a
Susan, in my
cameo that
opinion.
made
At least it would have made a bit more
absolute
sense, not think.
And if you're going to have another Doctor show up, this is the only other one that is probably going to show up. You're not going to have Matt Smith showing up for this. He's way too big. And,
Yeah.
Peter.
Don't have any of them.
no, Peter Capaldi, he's not going to show up because of the way he was shafted. Christopher Eccleston's definitely not going to show up. So who do you have left?
And keep bringing David Tennant.
Don't bother with any of them.
Oh,
That's the issue. Don't bring any doctors back. Don't
Well,
have
David
anyone. Don't have Shooty regenerate at the end. Do it fade to black. It's just some of these decisions that don't actually need to happen. Again, like we've said, there's a little split. Very quickly, very briefly, there's a bit where Shooty's face completely disappears and you don't see anybody. It's just yellow glow and like a sort of silhouette. They could have just cut it there for a few seconds, fade to black. And then the theme music kicks in. And then you wouldn't have any of the bollocks about the controversy about a stunt casting. Which this is the problem. This is what annoys me. It's because the Doctor, not so much the characterization, because I know we'll say that he hasn't felt like the Doctor for a long time, but the character of the Doctor and the regeneration process has always been each changes into the next one. Relatively no problem. Why is it in the last couple of years that we're fucking around with it so much by regeneration? Now with the old faces coming back, now Tennant's back, and now we don't know why. And then they hyped that up, didn't they? And said, "Oh, there'll be a big reason." And then it wasn't a reason. It was just Donna had an idea, or she had a little guess. Oh, I think I know why your face came back. But is that it? Is Donna's theory now taken as gospel? So Tennant comes back, and then we get Shooty, and then now Billy's back, and then it's just.
Well, I can tell you why.
Go ahead, Helen, I want to get Josh in after you.
Oh, okay, right. I'll be quick. I can tell you why they're relying on the past is because they think it's going to work. Like in the 60th anniversary, they decided to rely on the past to trick the audience back in. It tricked me. I fell for it. I saw David Tennant, I saw Donna Noble, and I was very excited to see what's going to happen. And all they did when bringing these characters back was just like slap me around the face. I'm like, oh, okay. And they thought that was good.
And like I say, I thought Doctor Who was all about change, but yes, Russell seems to think it's 2005 again.
I think it was okay with the 60th because you needed the show needed something to get people back because after what Jodie Whittaker did to the show, they'll never admit how much damage she did. Well, they needed something to bring like life back into the show, and now they've realised, oh shit, Ncuti Gatwa was awful as well. So, and he's probably I know you like it. I know you like Ncuti Cinnamon, but he's objectively worse than Jodie Whittaker. I can't believe I'm saying that. He was outperformed by Jodie when she came back. That people are like, why is Jodie seeming so like? Why is she all right all of a sudden? It's because she was outperforming our current Doctor. She was less insufferable than Ncuti. So it's like you think it's going to get. You don't think it can get worse.
I can't stand her. I mean,
I hate her as well. I can't stand the cow. I think she's she's awful. She was insufferable to the fans, just like Ncuti was. But I call it like I see it. She performed in that 5 minutes better than Ncuti.
Well, she came in, didn't she? And she's kind of even.
He actually upstaged
giving him instructions. He's like, "Oh, try this, try that," and he's like, "Oh, I didn't I think of that." I was like, "Yeah, bit thick."
But you know what, though? I will say, though, I always did say we'd never know what a Jodie Whittaker Doctor would be like because of Chris Chibnall. Well, we got a little bit of taste of it under RTD, and while she did upstage Ncuti Gatwa, let's not get twisted here. She's still fucking shit. And as soon as I seen her little scrunchy fucking face come down that fucking barrier down to the door, I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
I just think, why not have Susan there? Then again, that could have saved all the aggro. I mean, yeah, it depends how they do it.
Susan would have been better. But
at least they could build it up, because she's appeared in episode 6 and she was on the TV in episode 7. They were building up towards something. So we may as well have had her there. And then you wouldn't have to have pissed about with having Jodie there.
Listen, I think that's exactly what was going to happen. And I think what's happened is because Ncuti or whatever happened behind the scenes, they had to change plans. And the plan then changed, and then they got Billy Piper in a studio somewhere and did her little bit. Right? I do believe, listen, you're right, that Susan thing was leading somewhere, even though it would have been still shy and you know, not much effort put in. But it would have been leading, I reckon, to that scene in the TARDIS with Ncuti instead of Jodie Whittaker's Doctor. And I think when plans changed and something happened behind the scenes, they decided to change it. Listen, there was definitely rewrites for this, but I want to get Josh in and get his thoughts and what he thought of obviously the season finale. Josh, been a long time.
Yeah.
How are you?
It has a lot of stuff had happened, and then of course in the crazy Who world. Oh my gosh, this show goes from bad to worse,
True.
and it's hit rock bottom, and it's started to dig. So I'm going to put a spanner in the works. I'll just agree with you about one thing. I think whether you love it or you hate it, Billy Piper at the end is the Doctor. I think the fact that they said introducing Billy Piper but not as the Doctor, I think that's just a red herring. Again, it's like he just finds ways to really piss off the fans. That's what it is.
True.
Now, the fact that they did bring her on the end and not keep it open-ended, as everyone thinks they did, means that they're looking to bring this thing back. But I'll agree with Robert. There's so many plot holes, so many points along the way. There's absolutely no tension. There's no stakes, no drama anymore because the Doctor, the Doctor is immortal now. He just bi-generates. In the Interstellar Song Contest at the end with Irani, it's like, I'm going to give some famous last words. But why? You're bi-generating. You're not dying. You're going to be here 2 minutes from now. Like, it didn't make any sense. There's no last words. You're continuing. And they had so many of these little issues and things that if you start to think about it at all, it falls apart. Like with Anita in the Time Hotel. Oh, she starts to check up on him and literally can create doors. And then we see the Matt Smith Doctor and then the Pertwee Doctor. But she didn't know that was the same person.
Yeah.
Known it was the same.
Exactly.
I bet she recognised him when she saw the Rogue scene now.
Oh, yes. And then
The look showing that, don't they?
and then it's like, oh my gosh, he's gay. I can't pursue him anymore. So
that'll be why she went up with that other fella and got pregnant.
Yeah. Oh, head of HR. Well, that's problems in and of itself. But anyway.
So you think so, Josh? Just to be clear here, you actually think that Billy Piper, even though it didn't say she's the Doctor, you're saying you believe she is the Doctor?
Yes. I mean, we saw it clearly. I mean, we can go and try it's the same logic. I remember when a few years ago, Colin Baker was at a panel and he was trying to make us believe he was the longest standing Doctor because he never came back for the regeneration. Like if you go from 5 to 6, there's a moment that you see a lot of light and you don't see anybody underneath. The next thing you know, Colin Baker's there. He didn't we could use that argument all over, but the way it was done, it's her. You may not like it. I don't like it.
Why would they not like I say it then? If that's the case, why would they not? Because they don't seem to me like the type of people who would be afraid to say and introducing Billy Piper as the Doctor. They don't seem to strike me as the people who would be scared to do that.
Hold on. You had the first hour. Hold on. The reason is because they want that as a talking point. They literally want us to talk about. As far as RTD is concerned, any publicity, even bad, is publicity. To answer the question, Noel, that you had earlier, like how could RTD do this? The reality is, and I've seen this on another podcast, I think this is your real RTD. This is your RTD unleashed. And if he had the opportunity to do this 20 years ago, we would have got this 20 years ago. He was reined in by the BBC. Now he says, I'll only come back if I have full creative control. It was a little bit campy back then, but it's total, like he's amped up the campiness to 11, and it's taking a toll. And the viewers are hemorrhaging. I know exactly what's going to happen next, and I'll predict it. Not speculation and tabloid stuff. They put a lot of dots together. We can connect them. There's already been articles and press releases from BBC. Disney is a business. Disney is they need viewers. They're gone. So what does that mean? It goes back to the BBC. Disney was only distribution. They will have less money, so they're going to do less episodes. Instead of 8, it'll be 6, a little lower budget. It'll start off with Billy. They're going to wait about 2 years. They say there's going to be a pause. They haven't written anything. The problem is the BBC. The BBC is not run as a business. It's dependent on the license fee. So they don't care about, they'll do whatever they want, which is sad. And they're like, oh, we'll double down, we'll triple down. Like, they'll go until there's 3 viewers left. I think there's about 5 now. And most of those are hate watchers like you and I. I'm in the camp that...
or the diehards.
Well, I'm in the camp that Doctor Who died in 2017. I'm very much a traditionalist. I think the Doctor should be played by a British white guy. That's just me. Doesn't mean I hate anybody else. I just think what's role appropriate on what we're used to. So, and they've messed it up. They've messed it up bad. There's so now there can be little parts throughout the season that I did enjoy, but again, the lens that I use to look at anything is basically, for me, they always say stop when it's no longer fun. For me, the highs have to be higher than the lows are low. So there can still be a high point, but it's the lows still overtake it. And that's exactly where I'm at with this show. After 2017, I'm, what, I was pretty much out. I didn't watch 90% of the Jodie era. I just started with the Gatwa era, but it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. The theme of the first season and the second is exactly the same. Take an ordinary person. In the first season, it was Ruby's mother, and in the second one it was Poppy, and take an ordinary person and make them important. And that was the theme in season 1 and season 2. And it was just so I loved the casting of the Rani. Archie Punjabi, she's a great actress. Rani is Indian, I think, for princess. I think she, with the right material, but potentially even better than the original from way back in the day. Yeah, there, I said it. But again,
she upstaged Shooty though, Josh, didn't she? In the scenes that she was in with Shooty, she upstaged them. I mean, it's not very hard to upstage Shooty Gatwa anyway. But I do agree with you. That was one bit of casting that I think most fans along the line can say was a great bit of casting. It's just a pity he didn't do that throughout his whole era with his casting decisions, because I do agree with you. I'll always be suspicious of why she was hired in the first place and all of that. And I can't help that that's BBC's fault with the diversity and inclusion strategy. Like, I can't help feeling the way I feel about castings. But I do think that was a casting that he did get right. She did chew up every scene that she was in. It's just a pity it's in this abomination.
That was spot on. Omega as a dinosaur, it just was silly. They killed. Meanwhile, the Vindicator is a GPS machine, but suddenly it has the power of 100 billion supernovas. So many times, I really felt that Russell was just making it up as he was going along.
Absolutely.
Just writing stuff. He needs a way out. We had the time. The Time Hotel, and the doors were fixed. You can't just create doors out of nothing. You can't just open anything anywhere in time and space. But now we can. We just write that in there. There were moments I actually did in a rare moment. I will enjoy something from Shooty, the way he was telling off Conrad, or when he was being that dark doctor and really going after that 10 trillion lives guy in the content. We've seen the dark doctor before, and everyone's saying, this is new, he'd never be like that. That's not true. He killed off David Bradley's character in Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, but the magic of Doctor Who, the show that we loved, is gone. It has been gone for a long time, and they're just doubling and tripling down. Resting it is not going to make a damn bit of difference. The only thing that'll make a difference is a retcon, and they were retconning it within the episode. Oh, introducing Poppy and rewriting her back.
Yeah, but retcon, see, this is the problem, Josh, right? We talk about retcon. We've all talked about it on this panel. I think everybody has talked about at some stage where it should be retconned. And that's where the debate was. Where should it be retconned? Where do we say, right, that's a stopping off point. That's where it stopped being good and the rest is shy. Who do we dismiss in this whole retcon? Because do we just do Ncuti Gatwa, Jodie Whittaker, and keep Peter Capaldi?
Yes.
So here's what I would do. They would call me up tomorrow and say, okay, here, Josh, here's the pen and paper. You write the script. What are we going to do? We want to bring Doctor Who back proper. So if you remember, there was the Matt Smith episode. We had the Dream Lord and the Psychic Pollen.
Great episode.
So then you can say, oh, some Psychic Pollen got stuck. And from the moment Capaldi regenerated, from that moment on, it was a dream. And we call that the dream years. And ta-da, we'll reset.
Well, I'd say you've got an opportunity within this episode to retcon everything. Because considering Ncuti's entire era, you could maybe make an argument that he was leading into this massive wish world, and the Rani tricked his, like, I think with Mrs. Flood, they were like making subtle hints, looking at the camera. You can make Ncuti's entire era just be part of a dream, and when he shifted reality,
and Jodie, I could like.
I'd say it's a glitch. That's all you could say. Said this whole year is a glitch because every single question. That's all they kept saying in this episode. Oh, why does this happen? Oh, well, it's just glitching. Is that what we get now, Russell? Is that the sort of explanation for everything? Oh, well, you can't. This just happened. This just happened because of a glitch. Or this is glitching. That's just the excuse.
Yeah, when Ncuti Gatwa when he sacrificed his face or whatever to shift reality by just an inch, there was a shot where the entire the screen smashed, right?
Yep.
So use that as a way to like
when he woke up, Melon, he was touching grass, and I thought, how pathetic! How pathetic.
I think very poetic.
We've been doing it for a while. I think we should change the Doctor Who group now to call the Grass Touchers.
Started the grass touches. Yeah.
I created an AI image of Ncuti touching grass, and now I don't need to anymore.
But just very briefly on the retcon thing. In an ideal world, a retcon would be great. But can I just throw it out there that even with a retcon right now, this show is unsalvageable. We can't. I don't think you can actually come back from this era or Chris Chibnall's era now. I do think the time. It's sad to say it, but I do think the time has come to put this show out of its misery completely now and put it away for 10 years at least. And I mean, at least 10 years. I think, I am a long-term fan. Look, I will be devastated. I'll probably never see Doctor Who in my life again. Maybe not. Maybe I would. But I'm willing to take that chance because I'd rather see this show go off the air than them try to do something. Even if they were to do right by it, there's too much damage done. The British public are not just going to tune in all of a sudden. Fans are not just going to tune in all of a sudden. Especially those that have been abused and harassed throughout the years. And the media have contributed to that as well. Showrunners have contributed to that. Actors and actresses that starred in the show have also contributed to that. So I think there's a lot of anger out there. I think there's a lot of bitterness. And I think fans have gotten to the stage because the ratings have proved that they're done now. They're done. They're just finished. I think a lot of fans out there now have accepted that this show is not going to recover.
I don't think we'll ever salvage
we were all filled by RTD. I was one of them.
The ratings speak for themselves.
I'll never be fooled again, though. That's the thing now. I'm never going to be fooled again.
I think there's a way. I think there's a way you can salvage it. I think you need, like you say, I think you need a big time gap. No matter what, now you need, like you say, at least a decade, and then in the decade, like, have the new creator, whoever it's going to be, maybe a fan of the greatness of her, like, have someone come out in 10 years, go full Tom Cruise, and go, right, we know we fucked up. We're going to do this, this, and this. Jodie and Shooty are set in their own universes. Let those fans cry, and go, right, we're going to start from Peter Capaldi fresh and and have a bold new take on Doctor Who. That's how you salvage it. I think you just need to send a message out there to real Whovians. No, we're not actually tricking you this time. Give us a chance, and this is our fresh new take on Doctor Who.
But do you think even in 10 years' time, BBC will be an organisation that can be trusted? That's the thing, Melon.
Point. Yes,
a lot of things have to happen to BBC as well. 10 years from now.
Yeah, it needs a gutting. It needs a proper Doge gutting, or maybe the BBC might not even be around in 10 years. So, and you have something else coming. You have something else coming around the corner as well. You've got artificial intelligence, which gives the power of the fans to create their own things. So, I think.
Yeah, did you hear about that?
I do believe though there is just real quick, and then I'll let you jump in. I do believe though if there is a hiatus, if there is a gap, that the creativity in this fandom is going to be unbelievable, and I do believe that Doctor Who will continue with fan stuff, and I'm happy with that. I am actually happy with that. I'll be happy with that because I know the effort would have been put in. The people behind it would have thought of what they wanted to actually project on screen, or whatever type of medium that they use to create their Doctor Who stories. But we know there'll be effort put into it. So fans like us will get behind that stuff. Go ahead, Cinnamon. Sorry for cutting across you there, though.
Just that on the AI thing, I think Rabbi was showing it off recently, and it was like some software. It's an AI software. And it's quite expensive at the moment, but obviously I'd imagine as time progresses, everything's always expensive at first. TVs would have been a really, really expensive, thing that only a select few people would have. But then as, things change, it becomes more accessible. So as time goes on, there'll be software out there, I think, and it's there now in its infancy, where it's, I think it's very new. It's like you get 30 seconds or something of footage, and it's like movie quality, like footage, and it's like, again, it's like really expensive. It's like 120 quid a month or whatever, and it's like they show like a demo of all of the things it can do. You can do like video game type stuff. And like what's that? Fast and Furious. Like, then there's like, it's really good stuff, and it's like, wow, you can really see AI is coming into its own. Which of course all the weirdos on Twitter are all panicking about and scared to death because it'll show them up. And
I can see why people have a problem with computers taking over creativity, but it's just going to be used as a tool eventually. And I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure AI could write a better Doctor Who story than Russell or Moffat or Chibnall.
Yeah,
I actually know some fans that write better stuff. And I think even Rabbi, if I remember correctly, Rabbi was experimenting with AI and was doing his own audios, and they were very good. Daniel supported someone as well that did their own Doctor Who stuff. So there's already fans out there, while the Chibnall era has been an absolute abomination and this era has been an abomination. There's already been fans out there creating stuff. Well, hold on, guys. We haven't heard much from Robert, so I'd like to get get Robert to throw his 2 cents in on this whole conversation. It's nice to see Queen Charlotte in the chat as well. We got Zombie Box Reviews also in the chat as well. Nice to see you all. But Robert, what are your thoughts on all of this? I mean, it is very hard to see where Doctor Who goes from here, though, isn't it?
No, it is really, because as people have said recently, the AI situation is going so quickly now that we'll be able to just make our own programs for our own franchises anyway, and they're self-satisfied sitting on the ivory towers in BBC and Bad Wolf will just be meaningless because people will make their own things and they won't want them anymore. They will make themselves extinct by their ridiculousness. One thing I wanted to say, while people were talking about the regeneration and all the is how did the Doctor die? I'd like to compare the way Ncuti left with the way the false regeneration with the hand that Tennant did. He was injured by a Dalek. He would have died, so he had to regenerate, right? So he pumped the energy, unused energy, into the receptacle of the hand, the handy hand, that was there. Now, Ncuti didn't have to regenerate. He chose to regenerate to produce power, energy to push into the time vortex, which actually was the time rotor, which is where he pumped it, and that was all thrown around through the windows of the TARDIS, as if, which doesn't make sense anyway, because the windows of the TARDIS don't surround the actual console; it's in the porch. And anyway, so he discharged all the energy that he would have done when Tennant discharged the energy to stop himself regenerating. He wasn't injured in the first place. He had no reason to then stop for 5 minutes, have a little talk to Jodie and say, "Oh, you're beautiful. Oh, why do you tell Yaz you love her? Oh, okay, I'll do that." No, he never do. Or pointless nonsense, time filler. And then he walks outside, does his crucifix pose in front of the Star of Bethlehem, and oh, it's such a joy. Oh, yeah, and I don't know. In short, what bothers me is that the regeneration has become some sort of voluntary used superpower type of thing. He just rubbed his fists together and he sort of generated get some generation.
You know what, Paul? I don't know about you, Robert, but I always found regeneration, or maybe it was just me because I was watching the show differently to all these lunatics out there. But for me, obviously, regeneration was a last resort for a doctor.
Exactly.
Right? But
exactly. That's what I wanted to
What annoys me about it is they're so cavalier now with regeneration. And Moffat did it as well with that, faking the regeneration to fucking what's her face. He was trying to Bill Potts. That's when I believe it started when they started to be little regenerate. And Matt Smith's Dr. Healing using the regeneration energy to heal River Song. It's a new who trope, but it's annoyed me because for me, I personally, this is just the way I see it. I see regeneration as a kind of an important moment.
Well, it's like a sacred thing, isn't it? It's like it's not something that Time Lords do lightly because again,
can I just finish what I was saying?
Yeah, go on.
I just want to finish what I was my train of thought, because I haven't said a lot about the way people produce the regeneration energy now, like as if it's a superpower beam thing. Regeneration is a biological thing inherent with Time Lord society species, whereby the dying, fatally injured Time Lord loses consciousness on the floor, don't know what's going on, goodbye, oh, I'll never see you again with his face, type of thing. And, all the death scenes we've seen, they are death scenes of the time of the version of the Doctor. And then, without his say-so, unconsciously, spontaneously, the body itself starts to regenerate its cells and reconstitute itself to save its life. Otherwise, that Time Lord is dead and stays dead. It's not some sort of trick. It's not some indigestion that you can just belch out whenever you like.
Exactly. I think it's a sacred. That's the word I was trying to use. I think it's sacred. Regeneration is sacred. As Charlotte said there, it's meant to be the ultimate symbol of rebirth. Exactly. So to me, that's sacred. There is, and the way they belittled it in New Who, it actually drives me mad. And I think that's what opened the door. Those little things that they done in the earlier seasons opened the door to all of this. Go ahead, Robert.
Just look how the Third Doctor and Sarah Jane there, he was like, I've just faced my fear and I've struggled and I've died and I'm fatally injured, and barely conscious, dying like anybody would die on a war film, And Sarah Jane is there crying and tears, Sarah Jane, and he's like loses consciousness, and then that funny little told you for guy gives it a push. Anyway, we've all seen the regeneration, but that was, Tom Baker's doctor fell off a blimmin' radio telescope, splat, and he didn't sort of run up to the watcher and give him a hug. He died, and the watcher went into him. Even though it was a one-off sort of regeneration, it didn't repeat. But the doctor was dead. He was fatally injured. You don't just say, I think I'll go now and force, have a little, like having a pop, and end up sort of beaming out energy somewhere. And it's a sort of spectacular, self-important display while you're still
that's
alive.
the problem with New Who, isn't it? I think
telling
when
everybody
this was introduced, wasn't that a New Who thing when they sort of made it into the law that like the Doctor can change his appearance anytime he wanted?
Well, that's pathetic, isn't it? I mean, I know they'd argue that it happened with Romana when she said, "Oh, I think I could have a regenerate now," and she had like 4 or 5 different bodies to sample.
Yeah,
and that was just silly. It was the 70s, everything was silly in the 70s. I know when I was there, I was pretty silly in the 70s myself.
Robert, mate. When a doctor,
you'd have to really hate yourself as a doctor if you wanted to do that anyway. It's a silly thing anyway.
Yeah,
really.
well, in which case, Shooter would never have regenerated, would he? Because he had
Robert,
he did.
It's literally Robert, mate. It's like literally got to go on a world tour before they regenerate.
Yeah, these days.
It's like, I'm going to do my last world tour before I regenerate. It's like,
how can you, if you can put off death like that? I don't know how any way to be so emphatic about it, because the doctor is dying. I've seen people die. I've seen my mother die last year. She
seen a lot of people dying
voluntarily. Yeah, exactly. People don't. It's not taking it seriously. It's not showing the serious of the moment. It has no stakes, isn't it?
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? It's not. It's not all told clearly. It's not told clearly. No. Again, you've got him primarily doing it sort of because apparently there's no other way. In Russell's view, there's no other way that they can shift the universe one iota and give it a little jig. Only the Time Lord's regeneration. So he's got to force himself to change, just to change the world, the universe a little bit, to bring her back. So effectively, he's sacrificing himself for a child
that he doesn't even know is real or not. That's what
and that Belinda didn't even want, really. Who was to say that Belinda was always, again, that's the thing that people...
point here. Get a disprove point. It's like, why didn't you just go and get the real bloody Captain Poppy in the universe? Then you can have the real Captain Poppy.
Question, because no one knows how...
Makes a good point there as well, though. I mean, he did. When he was regenerating, what's he fucking smiling for? Like, he was happy to be regenerating, like... Most
Dan's right on that. He's never
didn't want to fucking go.
Yeah, that's
the most emotional doctor isn't emotional in the one scene he should be.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing. I think that's the one thing New Who. I know you guys don't like some of the things New Who did with regeneration, but I like how traumatic it came across in certain episodes. Like, I know you was talking about earlier, Rich, how 10's regeneration. It was like drawn out, but at least it was like holding on because of how much he didn't want to change, and then you had that initial explosion because he had to let it all go. Yeah, it was. I can see what I remember at the time though. The reason they did stuff like that is because obviously the audience did. I know what we all think of David now. No one wanted David to go, and it was like to tug at the heartstrings. They got back to normal with. And then with Matt Smith, there was more of a sentimental, poetic way of him leaving. Yeah. It's only recently with 12 and 13. Hold on. It's only recently with 13 and David that they started to ruin it.
Yeah, the reason I said that in the chat is because it's becoming a trope, if you know what I mean. Everyone has to have the world tour before they regenerate. It's like, oh, for God's sake.
But I did like Matt Smith's regeneration more than David's.
It was amazing.
Because I did love the whole Amy Pond coming down, Raggedy Man, and that just set me off. I'm not messing, it did actually. I was more emotional at that regeneration. I thought David Tennant's was dragged out too much. Actually, I just wanted the fucker to go.
Oh no,
No,
yeah, David.
I must have been the only Doctor Who fan that couldn't wait to see the back of the fucking David Tennant.
David's regeneration. Oh,
go on.
Look at the change now. Look, the all this big fuss during the episode where infertile, whatever his accent is. He said they're infertile. They can't have children normally, so they have this bi-generation thing. Is probably life making itself work, And when it comes to his regeneration, he doesn't bi-generate this time. So it's not to do with that then. Regeneration is nothing to do with.
Yeah, he did a normal regeneration.
The little line because he can't do it for some reason, no chance of bi-generation, I think he says. For whatever reason. Again,
I think
because it happens.
I think with Shooty as well, when he regenerated, like he was banging on about how he was the most joyful Doctor. I'm like, mate, you were telling some kid to go like he was going to die because he did a podcast. Like, how are you the most joyful Doctor? How in any way was he joyful? It was the most sociopathic. It was very self-absorbed. Loved
crying all the time.
He didn't give any of the white characters a second chance, but he again in the story, the engine and the barber, he made sure he didn't,
he makes a big deal about being last of the Time Lords, but he watched Rani get eaten and didn't even blink.
He's not the last of Time Lords. Rassilon's out there, and the other Rani's out there. We don't know about any of the people who were off Gallifrey at the time.
What do you think happened to the Master? Do you think the Master's dead or something like that?
I don't think so. No, he ran off, didn't he? He said, I got an idea and was happy. He went off. That's another thing in his TARDIS, because he was surrounded by TARDISes in that area, wasn't he? Let's run off the thing. He truly said, mine's the last TARDIS. No, it's not. There's one which is a tree on some planet somewhere. There's the one that Clara and me have got. There's one
contradicting itself. That's the issue.
Why did the clothes still fit?
It's, like I say, it's everything they say is rubbish. As far as Rani wanting to have the DNA of Omega, well, DNA is you can get DNA. You don't need to have a gamete and sperm to produce new people. You can use DNA. She's a biologist genius, apparently, from another planet in the future. I'll take a deep breath a second to give it.
Genius the way she bloody died in this one.
She's supposed to be the really clever biologist, and she doesn't know the difference between DNA and genetical whatever it's to use.
If she truly wanted the Doctor's help to restart the Time Lords and rebuild Gallifrey, why did she go through all this initial rubbish?
Exactly.
Why go through it all? Just go up to him and talk to him. Like you're the two last living Time Lords in existence.
Yeah.
Like go talk to each other, have a conversation. Like it's so like why go through all this effort just to trick him into a scenario in which you want him to work with you anyway? Yeah, we could have went back
to the church on Ruby Road, and she could have stopped instead of just sitting there in a little blanket. Why don't you just like stop him from going to the TARDIS and have it out with him there? I mean, I suppose we wouldn't have episodes, but it is one of them things, isn't it? It's just like why draw it out? Why have this massive like thing happen just for the? It's just to draw him out. Like you've been stalking him all around every episode.
Yeah, not to get my nostalgia goggles on, but when Last of the Time Lords meant something 20 years ago, when the Doctor realised he wasn't the last anymore, when he was in the middle of Utopia, and he realised the Master was in disguise, he was panicking and like he was shouting at his companion because he didn't want it to be true because he knew how dangerous the Master was.
Yeah,
and now he's like, oh, the Rani's back. Oh, okay, and it's like. You're supposed to be building. It's supposed to be building tension. You were supposed to care, but you don't care, and the actors don't care. And
but the Rani is still back, and that version of it would have died supposedly in the stomach of the bone grotesque, whatever stupid idea of Omega that was. So she'd have regenerated or bi-generated in his stomach. So she still exists somewhere in the underpants world or whatever they call it these days, and the other Rani's still around. So there's at least 3 Time Lords that we know about, plus the ones which we don't know about. We don't know what happened to Rassilon.
You've literally got David across. I absolutely
and in down the road. Yeah,
well, sorry.
I completely
and his TARDIS.
Yeah,
you're talking about Rassilon when he leaves Gallifrey with Peter Capaldi, aren't you? Is that what we're talking about? Yeah,
That's the last time we see him.
I've completely forgot about that until you just brought it up now. So that's another thing I didn't think of.
Minions have left, yeah.
There's genetic, but it's just a mess. Like you got 14.
It's just bad writing. That's all it is. It's we can sit here and analyze it for hours, pick and hold at it, and it's like Robert has said before, and it's stuck in my mind ever since he said it. We're not expected to just pick it apart. All they want is for us to just like enjoy it. Well, not enjoy it. They just want us to consume it like slop and then just clap without having to think. They don't want us thinking about it. They just want us to. They expect us to clap and to love it without picking any holes in it.
Well, Russell did something that nobody's been able to do since Peter Capaldi, and that's unite the fandom. Like everybody hates this. Everybody, and it's
that's it. Yeah,
that's the one positive you can take from it is the fact that we all hate it. Like, not just this side of the Doctor Who fandom as well. It's actually the most positive side that love everything.
Even they're fed up with the constant. Again, it's. I love the early Tennant era too. It's my era. It's my favorite Doctor Who era. I love that 10th Doctor Who. I love all of it. But again, you can't say either Doctor Who's about change or it isn't, because again, Russell seems to still think he's living in 2006, and he's got like the grip. He's got Doctor Who fandom like putty in his hands. It's not 20 years ago, mate. It's a different world.
That's what's supposed to be part of the cycle that we love about Doctor Who as well. When the Doctor does change, and we're initially like, "Oh, this guy sucks compared to the last guy," and then you eventually warm up to them, and you fall in love with that Doctor all over again. And now, we don't have likable characters. We don't have likable actors. We don't have awesome stories anymore. What are we really holding on to? I think there was one moment through that entire episode where there was like a glimmer of what could have been kind of cool when they were passing the jacket back and forth.
Yes, that was a good moment. Yeah, that was.
And there was a moment. I'll quickly get this out, but there was a moment when Ncuti like gives Ruby a look, and it's like, do you know that she's gone?
Like the wink. Yeah. I didn't see that at first. I didn't. So people say, "Oh, he winks." I thought, "Oh, did he wink?" So now I checked back because I was curious. And he does wink. So that's me thinking, so he does really know what's going on, but he's just sort of like keeping it quiet for Belinda's sake. But then I thought, maybe. But then, because I think Dan from Space, he mentioned this, and of course you've just mentioned it there. And I checked it. Okay, he does wink. So I'm sat there thinking, okay, so he doesn't really know. He sees what Ruby's saying, but then he continues to sort of be a prick to her. So this is what confuses me. Like he sort of winks, he winks like he's saying, "Oh yeah, I know. I'll just keep it quiet. Shh. Don't upset her." But then he continues afterwards when he comes out the TARDIS to be a bit rude and he's still defiant. Like, no, you're remembering this wrong. And like, oh, hang on, which is it then? Are you agreeing with her? You're not. It's like I'm confused.
Well, I think that's That's probably what the original ending was going to be. Like, oh, okay, we all forget, and the mystery's still out there. And Ruby and the Doctor carry this pain to protect Belinda. That's probably what it's going to be.
Another glitch.
I don't know if you read the apparent leak of the original ending, but apparently, what Poppy was going to be Susan's kid. Apparently, that was the original thing.
And we're going to have a big party, and it was all that must be what that picture. Did most people see that picture? Of it was Ncuti and Belinda, and like it did some sort of nightclub. It looked like a nightclub.
Not to get controversial though, but I'm pretty sure when Susan is left with her future husband on planet Earth, was he white? Was he white? I don't. So how have they had a black child? How would they have?
She's been messing around,
That's right. I don't know what happened. So Susan's not telling the truth there.
Well, that's just it, isn't it? Because of course, if you listen to Big Finish, they indicate that Susan had a child with David or whatever his name was, and they had what was it? Alex? Was that one of it? Was one of they basically got Paul McGann's son to play it, and then they recast it with his other son. So they've already done kind of the Doctor. Susan's child on Big Finish. So that again, whether that's canon or well, if it's up to you, I suppose. But then that messes with that, doesn't it? You've got one white kid and then one. Oh, it's just again, it's completely just it's just bad writing. It's all it is. It's unprofessional. Like again, for the second season in a row, they've absolutely failed on the season ending, on the season finale, and fandom was united last time on the last ending because everyone hated the fact that Ruby's mother was just nobody then. Everyone was calling it out then. Fandom was united, and it is again. So
it's kind of annoying because I would love to see a conversation between Rose and a Doctor that's lived for another 600 years or 400 or 500 years, and their interaction and maybe what those two characters would be like. But now you just know it's just going to be the same old crap with nostalgia baiting with David and Billie Piper because they need to rely on the past.
That's just what I hate about it. It's whether she's the Doctor, whether she isn't. It's just the fact that they're pissing around with it and being clever when they're not, and it's just they're messing around with it. Like I say, I just have it be the next Doctor. Stop with all this changing. Again, I'm with Robert. I believe the generation is supposed to be it's a special big event. It's supposed to be sacred. It's not something that is just done willy-nilly or for a laugh. And it's it's one thing to do a little bit on River's hand when she broke her hand and she told him off. Imagine what she'd be with him when she finds out that Lux in the second episode absorbed what seemed like a godly amount of regeneration energy, and that didn't do out to him. Yet he paused a little bit in the TARDIS, and that sends him over the edge. And that's what does him in. That's another thing as well. Did anyone else clock on that? When he's all hoisted up by the tape, and he's absorbing that again, a lot. There's a lot that he absorbs. It goes on for quite a while, and that doesn't bother him. That doesn't do nothing to him. If River was there, she'd probably kill him herself. If she tells him off, giving a little bit to fix her hand, Christ, we should have seen what she'd be like with him there. And again, with the fake out with Capaldi. Again, okay, they've done it once or twice, even. Whatever. Again, it's just stop having old faces come back. It's making a mockery of the character and the concept of regeneration.
And it cheapens.
I don't like it.
Well. It cheapens that amazing run.
It cheapens it, and there's no emotional weight to it because it's just. And you know what? Again, I don't like Jodie. I don't like Jodie, as is evident, but. I can't even remember what I felt at the time, but again, it upstages her a little bit, and it upstages Jodie, and it's just stunt casting. That's all it is. It's done for attention. It's done for clicks. It's done for all wrong reasons. It's not done for. I just either have the next Doctor there or don't. And it's again, we had the 60th where Jodie wasn't there. Wasn't there for about 4 or 5 episodes. Well, for the majority of the 60th, he wasn't there, and then. 73 yards? Nope. Dot and bubble.
He's abandoned ship because he doesn't want his career any more harmed than it already has been.
He's the one who's harming it. He's the one who's harming it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Problem though, yeah.
I just find the whole paradox of the whole Russell saying, "Oh, old fans touch grass. We're going to have a brand new show, and I'm going to introduce the new people." And yet he brings back all these old characters, which only the fans he's told to piss off would even know. Exactly. So in doing that, he appeals to nobody.
But he loves reminding us that people go up to him and have a bit of fun by themselves watching his work. I don't know if you guys have seen that interview.
Yeah, I just texted him about that. That was a bit weird.
I don't know what the context is behind that interview and that quote he made, but
that was from his previous works with the show he did.
What was it saying? Kids are tucking themselves off to Queer as Folk or something.
That's what it was. Yeah, I think
it's just a strange thing to say, isn't it? It just shows how arrogant and deluded and how.
It's the BBC, so
yeah, exactly.
And also just on that as well. Did you not remember the Confidential or the Unleashed, where Russell was claiming the whole Doctor's life revolves around children? I think that was another disparate point.
Didn't watch Unleashed because
I haven't.
I think one episode of Shehu is enough. I don't want to be listening to the egotistical maniac tell us how great he is and how he put all this together when there's absolutely no thinking behind it. But I want to ask is, do you think the BBC knew about this little Billie Piper stunt? Because it does seem. As we said, it does seem kind of like left field. There was no indication that this was even going to happen. That's the thing. Even during the season, right, the season that we just watched or the season before, there was no indications that this was ever going to happen. So this is obviously something that just happened.
Well, We know it was added on because it was just her
Yeah.
face on Judy's body, wasn't it? On the green screen, apparently. She
Yeah,
just
she was
popped into
green
the
screen
studio,
at London studio, my friend.
So she didn't
Last
even turn up to do it in person. So it's an afterthought. It's like, all right, we've just realised what we're not going to have a proper series next now, so we'll just stick her on the back and the end of it and let them argue amongst themselves, and it'll be like say stunt cast, and it's like ta-da, or as you said, oh hello. That's not the way to do Doctor stuff.
I love Billie Piper and I love Rose the character. I think she's absolutely amazing. But what can you even do? What can you even do with her? Like her story finished. She was left in a parallel world with the doctor she felt like she fell in love with, and to go live her life and to have a normal life with that doctor. What can you do bringing her back? Nothing.
They brought her back for the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, but even then, it wasn't Rose, was it? It was.
Yeah, but maybe this is the bad. That's what I'm saying. Maybe the whole stunt is that obviously, as we rightly pointed out, Shooty's doctor didn't actually regenerate into the character that Billy's supposed to be playing. So I would say myself personally, because the regeneration energy went into outer space somehow. I don't know how it'd be explained.
It doesn't need to happen. This is my point. It was unnecessary. None of this needed to happen. It could have been avoided.
The bad wolf entity picked up on the regeneration energy or something, and that's what happened. I honestly don't believe. I know Josh has a different opinion on it, but I actually don't believe she is the doctor. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. I know they talked about, going back and revisiting old faces and all of this, but I didn't think they meant revisiting old faces by revisiting old companions' faces. That's
well, they do that. I just thought if you criticize Tennant coming back, or if you criticize Billy coming back, I've seen some people say, "Oh, well, you didn't have a problem with the curator." Well, we don't know what the curator is. Okay, he's intended to be somewhere or something in the Doctor's future. Maybe some sort of like afterlife spirit. We don't actually. He's not like an incarnation. Again, he's very. But we don't know anything about him. He's very up in the air. There could be multiple reasons why.
That was clearly a doctor. That was clearly.
That was just a nod to the fans, man. Yeah. That's why that's not taken sick. That was a nod to the fans. People wanted to see Tom Baker again, and he did a nice little cameo. I loved it. I mean, it didn't have to make sense, right, to me. It actually didn't, right? Because it was the fact that they gave him this cameo. He came in, he done, and Matt Smith was the only one that actually treated him with any respect, because at the time, the news reports and all, he wasn't getting, the people weren't treating him well behind the scenes. Matt Smith, he was being left on his own and all of this, and Matt Smith was the only one that would go and fucking talk to him.
That doesn't surprise me.
So that's what made me love that scene even more, because when you see Matt Smith, the way he's gleefully looking at Tom Baker, he's looking at who created this legacy, this show that he's part of. Tom was a major part of that. So it was a little bit of a homage. So that's why that does never need to be explained, to be quite honest with you. And fans, and that's the whole point of a scene like that. Yeah, in scenes like that, fans can do their own headcanon and imagine what or how Tom Baker's character, the creator, got there. That's up to you, right? But it doesn't need to be explained. This Billie Piper thing makes no sense whatsoever, right? That's the difference. This makes no sense. It's a stunt for nothing more, right? And if they do something about it, and whoever the writer is, whether it's RTD or Stephen Moffat, it's rumored to be Stephen Moffat, right? Because the rumor is they actually are going to do something with this. If they do try and explain this, they're not going to be able to explain it logically anyway. So we know it's going to be another fucking absolute complete mess and shit show. So don't be thinking that even if they do something with this, I will give it a chance. They probably will do right, but they're not going to do it right, okay?
I just don't like how the Doctor can just be anybody now. Oh, it could be, about next time it might be Martha. Or maybe Stephen and Dodo might come back for a little bit and have a go. Or maybe Perry, maybe she might,
The last thing I want to see is Stephen Moffat come back. Man, the man is finished. Like, he was a great writer, but he's past his prime.
No, I meant Stephen Taylor. But, I mean, like... I just want any old companion. Taylor, do you fancy another swing? I just want someone being the Doctor for a week.
I just want someone to take Doctor Who by the reins and just give it a new, fresh ideas, man. Like Christ Almighty.
Look, as I said, do you know what should happen? There should be a fan. The fans used to do things years ago. A band of fans need to get together, right? They need to set up some sort of committee or some sort of movement or something, right? And get fans to get out there and search and see if there's any sci-fi writers out there, people that know the industry, see if they're interested in writing or taking over Doctor Who, and then pushing those people hard. That's what we need to do. We need to be putting people out there and dangling them in front of the BBC now, because as Lee said, right, Lee was on here a few weeks back and he said something very important, right? The show might be gone off air, maybe well gone off air, but this is the time where we don't remain silent. We've got to be very vocal. We've got to speak up now, because we can't have the same people running this show. Or a whole clear out has to happen. Bad Wolf needs to fuck off. RTD needs to fuck off. All the writers that he brought in. Anybody that's worked on this show from 2005 up until now never should set foot on a Doctor Who set again. Right? That's where I am with it. Right? Yeah. That's the only way that we move forward here. We're not moving forward with these people, right? Yes, so it's very important if there is a vacuum, right? All of a sudden, the show is gone. There's a bit of a vacuum, that we stay very vocal now in this fandom, and we demand what we've demanded since the fucking Chris Chibnall era, right? Decent fucking storylines, character development, you know, hiring based off talent and not based off ideology or skin color or any of that other nonsense. More than ever now, we need to be vocal, because if you think the other side are just going to sit back now because the show is gone, they won't be going anywhere, folks. They will be pushing their people. They'll be pushing their beliefs on the way they think Doctor Who should continue. And we've got to be very vocal now. Right, so all of those fans that, you know, walked away need to come back, and I don't mean need to come back to start watching Doctor Who and all of this, but no, you need to be vocal. You need to call out the regime, the BBC regime. You need to call out the Bad Wolf regime. You need to call them all out. BBC have always had a golden goose in their hands. They don't even realise the potential of this show, and I'm not fucking kidding. Right, I'm not kidding. I'm talking about Game of Thrones fucking level here. Right, if it was put in the right hands of the right fucking people, yeah, it would slowly build up because of the years of fucking hurt, right? But if you got the right people in, right, the people that care, that know their science fiction, Robert always brings up the fact that if you look at the show from a science fiction point of view, right, it's poorly written, it makes no sense. Right, it's poorly written, makes no sense, and is absolutely stupid. Right, this version of Doctor Who is for low IQ idiots. Right, yeah. Doctor Who isn't, and I'm sorry to say this if it insults anybody out there, but it's true. Doctor Who isn't for low IQ idiots. Right, Doctor Who is a highly intelligent sci-fi show, and it's for intelligent fucking people. And I'm sick and tired of BBC, Disney Plus, and all these other fucking companies out there doing it to every single franchise out there that's worth their fucking weight in gold. Yous are fucking turn them into generic fucking messes that make absolutely no sense and no fan wants to watch. Right? You want to make money, you lick our asses, end of fucking story. Right? That's how you make money. Right? You lick our asses, you do the best by us, you do the best by Doctor Who. When you come in and take over the show, whoever you are, right, you're a guardian, right? You then have to pass that off in a better state than you received it, as far as I'm concerned. Doctor Who should be at a gold standard, right? It shouldn't be fucking anything less. Anything less. We shouldn't even be giving it the light of day, really, to be quite honest with you. None of us should be doing this, but we do give it the light of day because we're passionate and we care. But it's not up to the standard, and it hasn't been up to the standard for a very long, long time, right? And I'm saying enough is enough. right? We demand that this show is brought back to the basics. It's brought back to its roots. Only then, and a clear out of the BBC and a clear out of the gobshites that have ruined the show over the past few decades are out the door, then we have no hope of resurrecting this show. And they but this is the thing, they may try to bring it back, right? But it'll fail, and it will fail, and it'll continue to fail until they start listening to our concerns. We're not saying you should fucking be dictated to, but you should be listening to our concerns and not just listening to the concerns of people who you want to fucking pander to. Right? We've been here a long time, and we'll continue to be here talking about a show that we fucking love. Right? No matter how much we've hated these past few eras, right? We still keep coming back. That should fucking tell you something. And instead of insulting us, instead of fucking getting the media to attack us, you should be fucking coming to us and asking us how to help in fixing this. Because I can tell you now that there are plenty of people on this panel. I know every single guy in this panel, if you're approached by BBC, help us out, give us advice, what's gone wrong, tell us what your opinions are. They would be glad to give their fucking opinions. They'd be glad to tell you how you can fucking fix this abomination. Because it's not a hard fix, by the way. It never has been a hard fix. No. And that's what frustrates me more than anything else, because it's not a hard fix. Yet there's a lot of damage done, right? The previous eras, right? But you can relatively dismiss all of that, right? The bottom line is, I don't care if the other little bitches on the other side cry, right? Because their era is not respected. It's not Doctor Who. So simply, we just forget about it. Continue on from Peter Capaldi, bring back up his old regeneration. Instead of regenerating into Jodie, regenerate into someone else and move fucking on. End of. Don't even fucking acknowledge the other bit. You don't even have to put a line in there. You do that alone, clear out, back to basics. Someone that knows their science fiction, this show becomes a fucking hit again. And by the way, you are celebrating it getting 5 million viewers, right, in 28-day consolidated figures, right, and you think that's a huge win. Think about 5 million in overnights and 10 million in consolidated 28-day figures. That's what Doctor Who should be doing today, no matter what they say about TV habits changing. When BBC have a hit show on their hands, it gets millions of views. Doctor Who should be no fucking different, right? And that's what pisses me off, the disrespect, right, the lack of effort from RTD. I mean, how dare you? And to you personally, I'll just say this, right? I don't know why you came back and you decided to destroy your legacy, but be under no illusion, you have destroyed your legacy.
Hopefully his career too.
Your own legacy, though, you've destroyed the legacy of Doctor Who as well. Yes, Chibs came before you, but you have put the final nail in any hope that we ever had that this show could be good again. And that's all we want. We're not asking for much. We're asking for characters to be developed, storylines to make fucking sense. It's not that hard. Go ahead, Josh.
No, I think I have to go shortly. So I want to thank you for having me on. Hopefully we'll do this again soon. I totally agree with you, Noel. Like even that part where they were putting the Shooty was putting on his skirt, and I thought, oh Lord, is that where this show is gone? I say, forget it.
Where did he even get that from? Anyway, he was coming down the stairs in a suit, and then the next second he's got a dress on.
The power of his gayness broke through the wish
power
world.
Of the future. The future.
The power of his campiness broke through the wish world.
Real soon.
Oh, goodbye, mate.
See you later,
Josh, thanks for coming on. Pleasure having you on. Don't leave it too long the next time, mate.
For sure.
Yeah, you're always welcome, mate.
Take care. We'll see you all real soon.
Bye-bye.
See you, bud.
See you, buddy.
Look, I don't want to go on another bit of a rant, and I'm not. But
I don't blame you, mate.
all I've ever wanted is to be able to sit down on a Saturday night and to have a smile on my face when I'm watching Doctor Who again. And I will say this, for a brief time, from 2005 to 20, whatever, Paldi left, I did have a smile on my face each week when I watch Doctor Who, and will be forever thankful for that. I suppose as an older fan, all I can say is that I've had 2 eras of Doctor Who. Some TV shows or some fans out there don't manage to get that. So, you know, for that I'd be grateful. But just because we've had such a good run doesn't mean that we couldn't continue to have a good run. And that's what pisses me off. I think fans now, fans like us now, if Doctor Who does have to come back, if it does come back, the BBC have serious arse licking to do. That's all I'm going to say. Because if you think fans are just going to switch back on because it has the name Doctor Who, you're sorely mistaken, and the ratings have proved that. But if anybody else wants to add any more, we'll probably go for another half hour, 40. I'll say I'm actually in good humour tonight, so whenever people start dropping off, then I'll end it. You know yourselves. We got Type 40. Just want to give him a shout out there. I'm just catching up with some of the comments there. Dan from the Space Book is in there. Nice to see you, Dan. He says delighted to catch up with you all. Yeah, nice to see you in the chat. It's finally over. What? We can breathe a sigh of relief, or can we? That's the thing. There are rumours. I'm just going to let you know, though, there are rumours flying about, so don't be surprised if something does happen. But Lee is adamant that the show is gone, and maybe that's why this stunt thing was done. We're talking about that rather than talking about the future of Doctor Who.
It's distracting us, isn't it? It's distracting us from the poor standard of the episode. Just talk about Billy coming back. They can forget about how rubbish everything was. Can I just say about the science bit? Since you brought it up, I'm official spokesman for some reason. I don't know. Joy Star was in some sort of nebula at the end of the episode, and she wasn't during all the time she existed previously since the 2,000 years ago. And if she was in a nebula and there was all that energy being pumped out from the TARDIS, there would have been some cosmic results and some stars created and all that stuff, and the dust would have gathered around. You know, you can't just paint a nebula behind a star which previously didn't have a nebula around it. You can't. It's not just gas RS coming around and do some cosmetic stuff in the background. That was a part of the universe part of the galaxy where Joy Star didn't exist before. So it's like.
Is Joy alive? Is she sentient? Has she been spending millions and millions of years just like?
She's alive as anybody who's blown up can be, I suppose, turned into a star.
Because when you think about it, it's pretty horrific the situation Joy's in. She's kind of just like stasis in space, completely apparently sentient.
She just sort of killed herself, didn't she? She just sort of like. She was torn up about her mother. I had a big rant about the government and their party, and then sort of like couldn't care about the Doctor, and sort of like went off and did her own thing, and then like turned into a star, and then she killed her own mother. Or whatever. What the hell?
Here's a question for you. It's for Ollie. It's an interesting question. So we know Billy Piper, obviously, at the end. I just want to ask you, do you think there would have been anything in the back of her mind? Because our ex Lawrence Fox obviously said he would love to take the role of the Doctor. Do you remember that? And he has criticised her obviously on X because apparently Billy won't let him see the kids or whatever because of his anti-LGBTQ plus thing. Do you think there would have been when she was asked back? I'm just asking. I'm just throwing this question out there just to see what you guys think. Do you think there would have been something in the back of her head? You know, thinking maybe I should do this and
I don't think so because, I don't think any suggestion that Lawrence would have taken the role or been offered the role is serious. And he's got so many tattoos now; he'd have to be covered head to foot with a costume or good makeup just to not be look the way he does at the moment. And he's not interested in rejoining the entertainment industry. I've seen live streams of him talking politics and what happens over the week, like they all do. And from what I can gather, he just wants a quiet life. He just wants the politics to get sane again, He's more interested in justice of law and order and how people are treated and things these days than he is. And people are queuing up to cancel him and make his life horrible, So I don't think his ex is really in a position to do any harm to him by appearing on 2 seconds at the end of a bad episode of Doctor Who going, "Oh, hello." And that's not gonna impact on his life at all. Short answer is no. I don't think so.
I think the only thing going through Billie Piper's mind when Russell approached her was how much.
Yeah.
How much?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Because I, being honest, she would have been paid for that.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have been a favour. That was definitely a paid.
Billie Piper would have absolutely had the leverage in that situation. Like they need her more than she needs them. In every, even if we all hate it, Billie Piper is a recognisable name. She can actually act. She's got talent.
Yeah,
fans recognise it. But like, if you want me back, how much? And especially
here's a question.
Regardless whether it's Jodie or Shooty, at least you know she's a good actor.
Yeah.
Well, then here's the next logical question, right? It's Billie Piper. She's recognisable. People will agree on the panel. She's a good actress.
Well, I mean, she looks more like Mickey Rourke these days.
So say that rumour that Stephen Moffat apparently is supposed to be writing a Christmas special to explain all of this. Would you be on board with it?
3-hour show.
It's Billie Piper. So that's the question. Would you be on board with it because it is Billie Piper? Are you too smart to fall for that one?
Would I be on board with it? No. Am I curious to see what they do to absolutely annihilate Rose? Because at this point, I'm just. It's like watching a car crash, isn't it? Like,
oh yeah, mate.
After what they did to Donna. I used to love Donna, but they made her an unlikable cow.
Yeah.
Like, so what are they going to do to Billie now? Like, what are they going to do to that amazing character? So I have no idea. I in my gut instincts, I don't think we're going to see. I don't think we're going to see this play out at all. I think problem being said it in the chat. I think the writing's on the wall.
Actually, Lee is just after bringing up a good point there in the chat. He actually doesn't think that Billie knew what he was doing.
What? Like she didn't even know she was speaking.
She did it for a laugh, apparently.
She did it for fame. It's not like It's not like he's hired her for like 3 seasons and she's like happy and prepared. This is the same Billie Piper who doesn't want to be a role model.
We're going to be halfway through it.
And struggle with the fame and didn't want anything to do with that.
We're going to be halfway through a cycle of Doctors in under 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually crazy. If she is the Doctor and she regenerates, that's what, 16 gone, right? Or he goes 17.
Oh, Russell's being Russell again. Yeah.
We don't have cycles anymore. It's all the same as
maybe she'll break Colin Baker's record then.
Yeah, but haven't they already established now that regeneration is basically unlimited now, so the Doctor can regenerate as many times as they want now.
That's another thing that Ronnie didn't even mention. Like, she wanted Omega. She wanted Omega because he was the first Time Lord and the OG Time Lord, but you've got the timeless child standing right in front of you.
That was slap bang in my head the whole time that kept getting mentioned. I was like, well, is he the first Time Lord? Is he the creator of the Time Lord? Or is this guy in the dress?
I don't think that Ronnie is up to speed with the universe at the moment. She's coming there, I think, with a plan which is out of date. She doesn't know what's happened in the meantime.
They didn't even talk about the Time War. Nothing.
No,
I was I know the. I don't know if they acknowledged when they say you escaped the massacre. Were they talking about the Masters?
Yeah, we're referring to that one.
Right.
How do you shift your DNA as Smedge just to avoid it? How do you just shift your DNA? Whatever she said she did. It's like, I did a thing.
Comedian Arch.
It's the same thing with regeneration. Shooty just does a thing because he can and because the plot needs it. Oh, it's glitching. It's either glitching or it's something new that he can do when he's never done it before. Instead of, remember back in Pete's world when the Cybermen, and why didn't he just sort of like do a bit of regeneration energy into the TARDIS to give it a bit of life, and then he could have, they didn't have to bother about waiting around for 2 days. It's just, he can do things now because he can.
Regenerated to Matt. Yeah, I mean, it's all over the place, isn't it, really?
Poppy can't be Belinda's child because Belinda didn't remember her before. So why does she
Here's
remember
one of
her?
the biggest questions. Is this what is that? I mean, again, it seems
It's
like
a
it was
different.
intended for Ruby, not Belinda.
It's,
And
it's another reality again, isn't it? He's overcooked his effort that he did. It's
Right,
more
it's
than
like, is it the same? Is it the exact same child as it was in Space Babies, and she's just sort of
No.
been plucked out of her like timeline, or is this like a separate one made out of memories? Because that's
Yeah.
kind of what it is. So I'm guessing. I'm just
Well,
guessing.
it was
Is that
made, first
he's
of all,
made Conrad has made this apparently terrible world, which doesn't really
Yeah.
seem that terrible.
Oh, do you know
apart from
something
the
about
very
that? Do you know what I
contrived
say about the terrible
concentration
world?
camp.
It's Cassandra.
Do you know what I say about him? I think Disparu hit nail right on the head in the seventh episode. He turned around and said that whole world was Russell T Davies's nightmare, and I was pissing myself throughout the whole thing. That episode,
Yeah, Lee's right.
Lee's
Lee's right.
now.
Lee's right. It is a bit weird to have the Doctor now have a face that he apparently had a thing.
my phrase is it's more kink than think, you know.
I know. Yeah.
Zombie Box Review says like even Billy broke the fourth wall. Like exactly. Like what? Who is she saying hello to? Like,
Yeah.
to the,
Joy.
You know,
how
like,
is it's
Sorry.
how
there's
are
no mirrors in space, is there? There's no mirrors in space. So all she's seen, if there is a regeneration of the Doctor, all they've seen is blonde hair flapping around their face. They don't know who they look like because there's no mirrors in space. They're looking out into space. Now,
But
space.
she's still regenerating as well. The energy is still flowing.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't stop. It's not like the 10th. It's not like with David Tennant where he stopped and sort of like looked around a bit. You know, it's still kind of going on. Whether I'm just reading a bit too much into that, I don't know. But
yeah, that's another thing that New Who made cool about regeneration. I remember the Christmas Invasion where David Tennant was basically like a power plant of just out of control energy, and he needed to lie down, or he was just going to take out everything around him. There's so many cool things you could do with regeneration, but they've just turned it to he's fine, okay, like whatever.
I'm so surprised that Joy just didn't eat Billy Piper. That would have been funny.
Accidentally cause a supernova near the TARDIS. Yeah.
Well, they kind of. I mean, they're probably not confident behind the scenes, but it's like the episode itself didn't really gear up or feel like it was kind of reaching a sort of open-ended sort of series ending kind of thing. Like you've got Anita talking about, the boss says hello, and that's like, we're going to tease something in the future. And then they've got Billy coming back, which they kind of like hope to do something with. It seemed like it didn't seem like they were like in a rush to end things. What if they still pick up on the Susan? If that's still something again in this hypothetical, if a third season is to continue, they're kind of banking on it because it seems like the writing is if it's going to continue, but it might not. I mean,
who's going to care? When's the earliest it's coming? When's the earliest it's coming back?
The only way that it comes back though is if it comes off its 2-year break in 2027 and RTD is still at the helm. That's the only way it comes back. Who's going to take it? Who will actually take it after this? That's the question you've got to ask. Who's going to line up to take RTD's place? And I can guarantee in this moment in time, it'll be someone that's working for RTD. So do you really want that? That's what I mean. No matter how we go forward with this, if RTD is at the helm, forget about it. He needs to be gone. All of his crowd.
I might commit a crime if it's Pete Matigue or Juno Dawson. Sure or not.
Will you guys?
I wouldn't be surprised the stupidity of the BBC that they convinced Stephen Moffat to come back.
Oh God, please, God!
I'm telling you, and you think that's going to work out? You think that'll work out with Stephen Moffat? No, it'll be more the same. So we need to.
Yeah. It needs to be a new production altogether.
Totally.
Zach James.
That's it.
Phil Collins.
Can we just like for a moment imagine just going back to like when Matt Smith became the Doctor, and imagine just as a fan at that point in time going, guess what, guys? In the future, the Doctor's going to regenerate into Billy Piper. That would be the most ludicrous thing ever said. People would laugh at you. People would look at you like you just sort of like spat in their tea. It'd be the most weirdest, bizarre thing.
Well, until last Saturday, we all thought the series was weird,
didn't we? Most of the things that are happening now, most of the decisions are about everything that's happened in this era. If you said like 10, 13, 14, 15 years ago, this is going to happen in Doctor Who, it'd be just crazy. And yet now the notion of a former companion coming back as a sort of possible incarnate, whatever they're doing with it, whoever the hell cares. I don't even think they know really. It's just
Yeah.
Has there been
mind-boggling.
has there been any kind of official word from anybody in the creative team of what's actually happening?
I don't know. I think Billy Piper. I think someone said Billy Piper made a comment, but I didn't see any comments from Billy Piper, because if I did, I would have fucking mentioned it, because if he said something about then you'd sit up and pay attention.
Well,
but they are just at the drop in an hour ago, and they're asking kind of to say, is a Doctor Who reunion coming? Did cleaning? No, hold on, that's a different headline. David Tennant is still out there, so this article is suggesting that Billy Piper and David Tennant are going to team up.
Yeah. But that is the most likely last thing they can try.
Yeah.
And the one positive thing they could probably spin from that is you're going to reverse by generation, because if they somehow merge, then the Doctor is officially the Doctor that was left on Earth, and Ncuti Gatwa was kind of a forgettable non-Doctor. So that's like, he's kind of retconning. I mentioned this in my video. He's kind of retconning Ncuti Gatwa's entire era, when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
it's kind of a circle, wouldn't it? Comes all the way back.
Yeah, I also think the ending was great and everything as well. The way he just kind of shifted time slightly back into a different universe. I think that's a whole thing.
Robert, what were you going to say, Robert? I think you were going to say something.
No, I was just thinking that the thing with it being Billy Piper or Rose or whatever thing she's supposed to be, it's going to make a lot of those same people who were into Yaz and the Doctor and everything else and all shipping this, shipping that. They want to see the two Doctors getting on, and that's going to be their like ultimate. Oh, they love themselves so much. It's so masturbatory rubbish. It's so incestuous and sort of self. So what they want to do, I think, what they do want to do is have a lovely sort of, again, a kinky moment where he's kissing himself, and then they merge again, and it becomes this like probably be a bright glowing light and stuff, and everybody and the Rose Noble will be watching and going, oh, that's lovely, isn't it? And everybody be arm in arm and in the garden at the back, and that's how it'll change into one Doctor again. But it'll be pandering to the harder part of fandom, well, I think, if that's what they do. But of course, he's just dangling keys, and he's like, "Oh, look at this Rose." Never mind about how rubbish the series was. Look, it's Rose Tyler or Billy Piper.
I think all they've said is like the usual kind of Russell T Davies hyperbole, like kind of like, "Oh, it's going to be exciting. Where, what, how, and when," kind of like that thing he sort of says. It.
The only thing it's
they've not actually, the words. They haven't said the words. Billy Piper is the 16th Doctor. I'll put it that way. From what I've seen on like the website and like press things, they haven't used that language. They're being very careful about how they word things.
She did mention something. She said that
roses are roses.
That it was no secret how much I loved the show, and I've always said I would love to return to the Whoniverse, as I have had some of the best memories there. So to be given the opportunity to step back on that TARDIS one more time was just something I couldn't refuse. But who knows how, why, when? We'll just have to wait and see. So that's what she said.
Oh.
So that's our official. That's officially what she said after it was revealed.
Perfectly vague for Billy Piper.
So she's just said how, why, and when. You will just have to wait and see.
That's it. The when.
The when being the biggest thing there.
Yeah.
Right, lads. I don't want to interrupt anyone, but I'm going to have to pop off now.
No, I'm gonna end the stream now. But before you do go, Melon Rattler, do you want to actually rate the season finale? Does any of you want to rate the season finale before we head off?
Is it even rateable?
That's the point.
Yeah, that's the point. Is it rateable? Man,
not really.
I'm trying to think if there's any moment in it that's even worthy of a point. I just
the only thing I liked was kind of moment with the jacket. I guess that's what stands out. But even that was even that's soured a bit because they've got the Doctor being a prick to Ruby and like dismissing her. Like even with the wink, he still continues to do it. So see, even there, I'm still putting it down on it.
Is there anything that I like about it? Yeah, like I said earlier, but the bit with the jacket, seeing Billy as much as it doesn't make sense, seeing Billie Piper again is kind of cool, but only because she's like really good looking and is I've got a bit of a weakness for Billie Piper, so I can admit even if it doesn't make any kind of sense, it was kind of nice to see her again on screen.
I think she looked a bit more.
Yeah, it was just like for me with the Susan cameo. I even though. What was the point of bringing Susan back sort of thing because he did nothing with it. I still did enjoy that moment. I'm not going to lie. So I can get you on the Billie Piper thing, even though it makes absolutely no fucking sense and it's a fucking an abomination of a thing to do. I mean, I don't even know what to say about RTD's brain, but whatever's going on inside that head of yours, mate, or whatever issues you have, go and see someone, man. Talk to someone. You definitely do. Well, but anyway, go on. What we was saying, anybody rate? I don't think we can bring ourselves to rate this.
I'll give you a number 0. There you go.
Right. There's a thing in mathematics called imaginary numbers. So I'll give it.
Oh God, not J numbers. Oh no.
J to -1 or something.
Oh God, no! Don't start.
So it doesn't appear in our universe.
Yeah.
Does it really? It's only
it's just a nothing, isn't it? A big great bit of nothing.
Well, Lee says RTD is gone. So if RTD is gone, all I'll just say is this, right? I want to try end on a positive note, kind of.
Oh, can I rate it?
Yeah, you can now in a second. Hang on. If RTD is gone, right, which would be the logical thing to do, unless his whole team has gone with him and people that have worked on the show are gone.
The captain, director, Andy's gone.
Then there's no really point of just getting rid of him. Do you know what I mean? So there has to be a clear. So if BBC are serious, look, I'll just say this: if you are serious about trying to make this show a success again, all you need to do is start listening to fans. I'm not saying do everything that fans tell you to do because that's not the way you should ever run your business anyway. But you should be listening to your consumers. That's what basically we are. You give us a good show, you release merch, we buy it. We buy the DVD box set.
It's not a democracy.
We make you all rich. Yeah. Okay, we want Doctor Who to be number one in the TV charts and killing it, right? So we get our number one show. You get a fucking shitload of money and start making money again. Then these can produce even better shows. Do you know what I mean? And then you won't be in the dire straits that you are actually in right now at the moment. Because BBC, by the way, BBC Studios is losing a shit ton of money. They're in a lot. They're in they're in the shits they are. And if the government are serious about taking away the TV license, they're absolutely screwed. So
shall we apologise to Twin Dilemma? I think we should listen to Lee.
Yeah.
Should we make some sort of public apology?
Yeah, it was actually quite good. It was actually better than this crap.
I mean, it's bad Doctor Who, but at least it's Doctor Who. It's just
I'm giving the season finale, the 2 episodes, -1. I'll be fair. PD is next.
Okay, I'll finally do my rating. I will give the episode 7 a 5 because when Disprue pointed that out, I found it as hilarious as Dot and Bubble watching RTD's nightmare and mental breakdown on the screen. But the last one, I have to be a 0. There's only 2 bits I liked in it, and that was Jodie upstaging Ncuti and the possibility that this could have all been a parallel universe and never actually happened, which I wish. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, social medias, lads, and then we'll wrap up. Melon Rattler first.
Well, if you'd be kind to go to my YouTube channel, it's in the chat below. I'm soon going to be releasing. I was going to release my big video that I've been working on, but I'm going to wait on the news if we're going to be getting any kind of follow up on this crap with Billie Piper. But yeah, if you want to go and watch my videos I've made on Doctor Who, then yeah, if you're kind enough, then please do.
Thank you for that, Robert. And PD is putting the channels in the chat there, guys. So go and subscribe. Robert, you're next.
Well, I don't know whether anybody would want to watch my videos when I make them. But you can find me on the interwebs underneath my own name, which is surprisingly Robert Payne. I'm not the only one out there, so if they look like me, well, look out for avoid imposters. But
Oh yeah, do that.
you know, I'll be around commenting on.
Have you been
videos
bi-generating?
Hmm?
Have you been bi-generating?
Not
Oh,
willingly,
fine.
no. But somebody's had a email sent to them which wasn't from me in the last couple of weeks. So you never know. There's weirdos around. Isn't there?
Yeah.
So anyway, I've got a X account, I got a YouTube channel, and I got a Facebook account. So yeah,
Fantastic.
I'm not here to plug myself. That's all. I don't have big debate channels, and I don't have Doctor Who specific channels. So
It doesn't
it's
matter.
just-
We
it's just
like
nice.
to, whoever comes on here, we like to give them a little bit of promotion. And
I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that.
So-
So thanks anyway. Anybody wants to look me up and see what I'm up to the moment, and things can change though. I can change my content as well and do something else, but we'll see. Thanks for having me.
Cinnamon.
Why don't you think RTD looks tired?
Oh yeah.
Boy. I mean, I'm gonna give this episode as written, give it a 1. I'm gonna try and go by the Doctor Who TV's their kind of system that they have. And very, very poor. It's just an abysmal. It's such a shame. That's kind of why it upset me, actually, as it did, because it's like, if you've just not hated, but if you've been consistently critical of this era, not a fan, didn't like Shooty, didn't like Jodie, if you didn't like anything, then it's like, well, you'd be like, well, what do you expect? It's shit. But like for people like me who've actually enjoyed quite a lot of it, and it just feels like a slap in the face. And I just looked at that as soon as Billy came on screen. I thought, wow, is that really it? Is that what I get? Is it? Just that, and it's just the line afterwards as well. The whole like, oh, this is always the plan. No, it fucking wasn't. Like, what a lie! Like, we know they're not going to come out and actually say the truth, but like, come on. Like, you can see the sort of like spin they put on the Unleashed. I haven't seen it all, but like, but yeah, it's such a shame because I really like the well, and yeah, so full of promise, but yeah, how disappointing. But yeah, for my
Your
channel,
social medias.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch on X and on Twitter. Same thing. And on YouTube. Yeah, I'm all out of words at this point. But what a ride it's been! What a ride it's been! Another season gone. Probably the last for a while.
It would last for a very long time. Yeah.
Well, fantastic. You can catch me here on the TARDIS Zone. As I said, we will be doing another stream with people that we couldn't bring on, so we'll have another panel. And we'll be discussing the topics, the same topics, I suppose. But obviously,
on that one.
People,
Come on, Lee, get on it.
There'll be different people on a different, obviously, perspective as we do on all of these panels. But I want to thank everybody, as usual, for joining us for the whole season. I would love to say it's been a pleasure for me, like watching, but it hasn't been a pleasure. But it has been a pleasure watching all you guys interact and absolutely feel the same way as us all on the panel. And we will do it again because we're not finished yet. We've got the spin-off. I did say I would do the spin-off.
That looked crap as well. I'm sorry.
I will be doing a video on that because they did release a trailer. So I'm going to do a bit of a trailer reaction video. So look out for that. There's plenty of Doctor Who content coming up. There'll be other bits and bobs as well because obviously, Doctor Who is off the air now. So we'll be keeping an eye on all the rumors, all the media outlets, and we'll see. And of course, there will be a press office release at some stage in relation to the future of Doctor Who and RTD and Disney
Imagine
Plus.
if we never get one, and it's like
No,
I-1989
it will.
all over
It
again.
has to. Once the spin-off actually goes out, they'll only have whatever how many episodes in that spin-off. They'll only have the certain amount of weeks, and they'll have to announce it one way or the other. So one way or the other, we are getting the BBC press office release. It's just when now. So we'll wait until then. We'll keep you informed.
Can I plug? Can I plug?
What's that? I'm gonna wrap up.
Can I plug? Can I plug Rabbi's channel?
Oh yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
TD,
you always forget me. I always close.
I never got to you.
I'm
I know. It's just like this season's panels have been a bit weird, and you've been on them. You haven't been on them all, so I do forget. I'm sorry. Sorry. But go on. We let PD do the last shout, and then I'm gonna wrap it up there, folks.
Couple of very brief things. Green Robert Martinet. It's called show business, not show friends or show activism. 2, who the fuck is Joe Martin's character? And 3, Rabbi. I'm on Rabbi's channel in the chat I suppose it all week now. Oh, sorry, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. He's doing some weird things, so he's not around. He's doing different days. He's doing like chill out streams now. So just keep an eye out, just an ear out in the live chat when we're on the channel, and we'll find out where he is. Okay, that's all I got to say.
Fantastic. Anyway, folks, thank you for joining us for another fucking. Well, at least it wasn't 13 weeks this time.
Oh, yeah.
But thanks for joining us, and we will be back very soon. And to all my panelists that have featured throughout the 2 series, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Now you can all get the feck out of here now and enjoy the rest of your evening, and that's exactly what I'm going to do, because it just. The one thing that I'm taking away from all of this is I'm baffled. I'm just baffled that you spend 100 million and that's what you produce.
I know.
I mean, if I had a company that was worth billions and I gave someone 100 million because they promised me to do something, and then they don't actually do it, or they don't produce what they said they were going to produce, there'd be repercussions, in fairness. And and bad with studios personally. And I hope that does happen. To throw 100 million. Listen, I know we always, stick the R in on Disney Plus as well, Disney as a whole. But they wanted to distribute Doctor Who. And in order to do that, they gave 100 million of their money to do it.
I know.
And let's be honest. I know we can laugh and say, well, Disney's at the back in another flop, but this should never have flopped. This should never have flopped, and this, I hope, is a painful lesson to Disney Plus and to BBC, because there needs to be a lesson learned here. So. BBC, one last plea to you is you've got to start listening to the fans that actually care about this show and want it to succeed. And if you want it to succeed, you've got to ignore the people like the Tharesis and all of these other gobshites that you have pandered to in this fandom, especially these 2 eras of Doctor Who. They're the fans that you shouldn't be listening to, because they literally sell their own grannies.
Listen, don't.
He got his 5 minutes of fame. He got to be in an episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah,
scumbag he is. Scum.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, and what makes it even worse is that, especially for me and Chris Bolstrek, is the fact that we gave that little shit a platform in the first place. Look, for that, to the fans, I'll apologise. The real fans.
Apologise for that, mate.
But you know what? I will say this, right? When we met him, he had a goal, right? And the goal was to get as close to the Doctor Who as he could. And he succeeded, right? It just took him stabbing everybody in the back that helped him along the way to do it. But he succeeded, right? But to me, that symbolised everything that has been wrong with this fandom, because me and Chris experienced what he was really like, and this was the type of fan that the BBC did actually chase and RTD chased. And you know what? They deserve each other, to be quite honest with you. And you know what, Melon? You said, I know, I agree with all the things you called them there. But you know what makes me kind of laugh, though? And it's kind of gives me a bit of peace. It's the fact that he's in the worst era of Doctor Who.
Exactly.
An era that's going to be
it's not Father's Day. It's not the empty child. It's not midnight.
Exactly. It's not. This will be forgotten about, and it will be forgotten about. I'm telling you now.
And even more poetic now.
So that's what. Yeah. So that's what gives me satisfaction here. I don't really give a shit. He had a dream and he got it. And fair play to him. I'll give him that. But it just happened to be the worst era of Doctor Who. So they deserve each other. And the fact that he spent the whole 2 seasons defending this shit, right? It all makes sense now. So don't ever anybody out there, because I know there's been a couple of people, leave him alone and all of this. Don't ever tell me to leave him alone. That's the problem with this fandom, little rat bags him and you rat bags that defend him, right? He has no fucking morals whatsoever. He has no integrity, because no true Doctor Who fan, no matter what they're given, whether they're given premiere fucking tickets, whatever it is going to sell their soul to fucking come out then on social media and on your YouTube channel to praise this shit over the last 2 seasons. I would not ever do that. And this is why people hate me in this fucking fandom. I don't give a shit. I will always call it as I see it, and I'll never sell me soul to these people. Absolute disgrace, have to be honest. And all of you fans, as I said, that supported this and continue to support it, I hope you have looked at yourselves in the mirror now and realised that you were very foolish. And here's another thing I will say. I know Cinnamon is one of those fans that enjoyed certain elements of this era. But I hope this whole thing with Billy Piper, the stunt he pulled, is the last straw for a lot of fans like Cinnamon. Because the sooner everybody is together on this in criticising now and saying this isn't good enough, we're never going to get anywhere with this. And we'll never have a decent show to back ever again. We've got to stick together now more than ever and be vocal more than ever on how bad this was. And don't accept the excuses, right? The bottom line is this wasn't planned, right? And the whole era, in my opinion, and I think everybody on the panel before I finish up here will agree with me, is that I don't think there was any plan for the 2 seasons, because it looks like to me it was just put together on a whim.
On the fly.
Totally.
Or
on
first draft.
Anyway, thank you for joining me. Melon Rattler, thanks for being here. It's always a pleasure having you here. Cinnamon, PD, we had Robert earlier, and of course we have Josh as well.
Very, very quickly, sorry. Thank you very much to the leaker known as Andrew from Bad Wolf Studios for guiding us on how bad it's going to get.
There's no way. He must have been sacked.
Probably did, yeah. I know. He done us all a good duty, so.
How has no one found him?
Was he involved in
He's
that?
Probably an AI.
He's got to have been. He's got to have been involved. But every leak that we've heard has come from him, and he got everything spot on, including.
He got everything spot on. Yeah.
No, I can tell you about Matt Carasel on. It was changed at the last minute by Russell.
Jeez.
Of course it was. Everything.
I got pictures from Rabbi.
Nothing that happened this season was supposed to happen this season.
No, that's a shit show.
Watch your back, Andrew. Coming for you.
It's clear and obvious. Ruby Sunday had more of a prominent role in these 2 seasons, but for some weird reason, Millie Gibson was tossed aside, whether it was her attitude or whatever. But then I'm going to say, well, if it was her attitude, Ncuti Gatwa was reprimanded for smoking, and his attitude as well being a bit sketchy. So if you're going to punish her, then you have to punish Ncuti. And maybe Ncuti was punished, because remember, we've had a lot of doctorless episodes. So I think a lot of shit went down. Look, again, just before I wrap up,
Yeah.
What's going to happen is all of these stories a few years from now are going to leak out about exactly what happened behind the scenes. And if that guy that's being leaking the information about Doctor Who was privy to other information, be rest assured at some stage he's probably going to speak up and talk about the chaos and the absolute drama that was going on behind the scenes.
Write a book, sell it.
Oh God, yeah, we'd read it. Oh, by the way,
right, come on, lads, come on. I know I'm doing it as well. One more point. Right, PD. This is the last. One more point. Come on,
Russell. When Alex Kurtzman tells you not to attack the fans, fucking listen. There you go.
Yeah,
he'll just block them.
Well, Kurtzman's an idiot as well.
I know. That's what makes it worse.
Now, on that note, we will leave it there, folks. Thanks, everybody in the chat. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to all of the channels that were featured here. All the guests, and of course mine as well. If you haven't subscribed and saying, what the fuck have you not subscribed to me already? Right? I'm around 8 years. You should be subscribed. All right? And subscribe to the rest of the lads because they put out great content. All right? Do what you are told. We'll see you soon.
Good night, lads.
Bye.
Good night. Right, here we go. You've been watching the TARDIS Zone, and this has been TARDIS Zone Talks. Good night.
We'll be right back.